While others are reborn as tiger kings or dragon kings, you've been reborn as a carp in a wet market. One wrong move and you'll be bought, braised, or steamed. Luckily, you've acquired the struggle for survival system. As long as you can survive for a day, you can evolve infinitely. But right now, all you can do is fight for fish food with your tank mates. But you're too weak, you can't compete with them. All you can do is slurp down a couple mouthfuls of your tank mate's waste. At least your small size has kept any customers from picking you. Until 1 week later, a streamer named Gia from some platform held his phone up to the tank, making faces at the camera. What's up, guys? Today, we're going to do something exciting. The arapaima that just arrived is a bit of a picky eater. So I'm here to pick out some live feed for it. Jay's about to do something crazy again. An arapaima swallowing its food in one gulp is so satisfying. And at that moment, you've been scooped out of the water. The suffocating feeling of oxygen deprivation instantly floods your entire body. You don't even have time to struggle. A large hand clamps down on your gill cover like a pair of iron pliers. And then, the world spins and you're thrown directly into a dry plastic bag. There's no water, not a single drop. The feeling of suffocation instantly grips your throat. Your gills instinctively flap open and shut in a frenzy. But all you can draw in is thin, foul air. Your vision begins to blur. Your tail weakly thrashes against the plastic bag, making a rustling sound. Meanwhile, the livestream chat was exploding. Ha ha ha, this carp is really putting up a fight. Jay, you're going all out. Not even a drop of water in the bag? I'll bet you 50 cents. This fish won't last 3 minutes. Gia glanced at the live comments. And grinned. Don't worry, guys. This is all for the show. It's just feeding the arapaima. No need to be too careful. Although that's what he said. He still casually tied a loose knot at the top of the bag, deliberately leaving a small gap. That tiny bit of air, to you, felt more like a cruel form of torture. Alright, as long as it's not dead by the time I get home, it's fine. It's just feed. No need to be picky. At the same time, inside the plastic bag, your consciousness had already begun to fade. But the system's voice exploded in your mind like a clap of thunder. Ding. Host detected to be near death. Activating talent. Struggle for survival. Temporarily activating muscle burst effect. Boom. An unprecedented surge of power instantly explodes from your tail. Your once dying body. Your tail suddenly tenses like a steel whip charged with power. Smack. With a sharp crack, you rip the plastic bag open with a single whip of your tail. Your body launches out, propelled by the burst of force. And with a heavy thud, you land on the fish-stenched concrete floor. The chat instantly exploded. Holy crap, that carp just become a demon? Jay, look, it jumped out. Something's wrong with that fish. That last move was definitely not normal. Gia was stunned too. He looked down at you writhing frantically on the ground, his eyes narrowing to a slit. Now this is interesting. He crouched down. He suddenly reaches out and grabs you. You struggle with all your might. Your scales scrape several bloody marks onto his rough palm. Hiss. Gia cried out in pain and instinctively loosened his grip. You fall back to the ground with a splat, your gills opening and closing with difficulty. Every breath carried the stench of blood. The livestream chat completely blew up. This fish actually dares to fight back, brother Gia. This fish is definitely a mutant. Don't use it as feed. Take it home and raise it as a pet. I agree with the person above. A carp with such a strong will to live. The entertainment value is off the charts. Gia stares at you, a cold, disdainful sneer flashing across his face. Brothers, don't make such a big deal out of it. It's just one carp. What kind of trouble can it cause? As if your resistance sparked his competitive spirit, he pulls a larger, more durable plastic bag from his backpack. Without even looking, he grabs you directly. Then he casually scoops up a few other carp and shoves them all in at once. This time, he didn't even leave an opening. Let's go. Time to set up the tank at home. Gia hums a little tune, the plastic bag holding all of you swinging back and forth in his hand. There wasn't a single drop of water in the bag. Through the translucent plastic wall, you can see that the other carp caught with you have already stopped struggling. Only you, relying on your newly enhanced physique, are still twitching faintly. Brothers, did you see that? This is what you call a tough one. Gia points his phone camera at the plastic bag. It's been 20 minutes from the market to here. There isn't a drop of water in the bag, and it's somehow still alive. The comments scrolled by like crazy. Brother Gia, isn't this a bit too cruel? To the person above, don't say that. This is standard procedure for keeping fish. I'll bet 50 cents it'll be dead before he gets home. Gia scoffs, then casually swings the plastic bag in a circle. If it dies, it dies. It's all just feed for the other fish anyway. The world spins. The lack of oxygen makes your consciousness blur again. But the system's notification sound is exceptionally clear. Host is in a near-death state. Talent. Death throes. Activation progress. 78%. 85%. I can't die. I absolutely cannot die like this. You desperately pump your gills. Your tail fin twitches slightly, gathering the last of your strength. Gia's apartment is on the 5th floor, but of all times, the elevator is under maintenance. He curses under his breath as he walks up the stairs. By the time he reached the 3rd floor, he answered a phone call. Hello? Right, about tonight's live stream. What? The platform needs to review it? What the hell? He waves his arm in frustration. The plastic bag holding you traces an arc through the air. Smack, the bag slams hard against the sharp corner of the stair railing, and the bag instantly bursts open. Crap, Ajia instinctively reaches out to grab it, but only felt a slippery fish body. The next second, under the gaze of over 2,000 viewers in the live stream, you traced a shimmering silver parabola through the air and slammed heavily onto the fourth floor corner's concrete landing. The dull thud echoed in the stairwell. The live chat went dead silent for a moment, then it exploded. From that height onto concrete, it's gonna be hard to save it. Gia, you've messed up. So much for the show. Gia slowly walked downstairs, the camera pointed at you on the ground. That's the rush, even if it's a goner. Wait, in the video, you, who should have been on the brink of death, suddenly twitched. Your gills struggled to open and close, your tail fin trembled slightly. What was more astonishing was that you actually started to support your body with your pectoral fins. Inch by inch, wriggling towards a puddle of water in the corner, spilled by who knows who. The chat went crazy. What did I just see? Oh my god, what kind of carp is this? That's some insane resilience. How is it still alive? I'm screen recording this. This clip is definitely going viral. Gia was stunned, too. He crouched down, filming up close with his phone. Brothers, it's time to witness a miracle. Just then, without any warning, your tail suddenly whipped. Smack, a glob of bloody mucus splattered precisely onto Gia's phone lens. The live stream instantly erupted. Ha 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 ha, Gia just got slapped in the face by a fish. This carp is on another level. There's definitely a story here. Followed, I'm staying just for this fish. Gia's face darkened. He snatched you up, a hint of annoyance in his voice. Aren't you a lucky one? Too bad, no matter how tough you are, you're just feed. He threw you into a portable fish tank, with only a shallow layer of water at the bottom. Someone in the chat urged him to take good care of it, but Gia just scoffed. What's so special about a common carp? You guys have no taste. Of all the treasures I raise, which one isn't more valuable than it? He shook the tank, looking at you, who were barely breathing inside. He let out a cold laugh. I'll give you credit for surviving this long. However, the camera suddenly switched to the living room. An enormous floor-standing tank instantly filled the entire screen. Inside, an arapaima, nearly a meter long, was swimming slowly. Its dense, massive scales glinted coldly under the light, like the armor of an ancient general. See this? This is the main event. Gia slapped the side of the tank proudly. In a moment, I'll show you all what a top predator from the Amazon looks like. Hurry up and start. Can't wait. Place your bets, place your bets. I bet this carp won't last 3 seconds. Stop wasting time, Gia. Let's go. Gia ignored the live chat. He was busy adjusting the lights and camera angles, getting ready for tonight's live stream. You'd been casually placed on the coffee table, resting quietly in the shallow water. Your gills opened and closed slightly, building up strength, waiting for the final trial to begin. 8 p.m. sharp. Gia's live stream title updated to Madman Gia's Tropical Predator Fish Night. In front of the camera, Gia was wearing sunglasses. He stood in front of a huge, floor-to-ceiling tank, a look of excitement on his face. Inside the tank, in the water, kept at a constant 30 degrees Celsius, were alligator gars, giant wolffish, and red-tail catfish. Over 30 species of tropical predators swam in the water. My bros, tonight's show starts now. Gia tapped on the tank's glass and spoke to the camera. First, he picked up the bag holding your companions. Let's start with an appetizer. With that, he dumped the handful of half-dead carp straight into the tank. Remember this, my bros. These carp were scooped out of market water that was close to 0 degrees. But this tank of mine is kept at a constant 30 degrees. For them, that kind of temperature difference is a massive shock. Before he could even finish his sentence, the carp hit the water as if they'd been thrown into boiling oil. They immediately began to struggle frantically. One of them, a larger one, its gills flared rapidly, and its tail twitched a few times. Then, it went belly up. The second one, then the third. In less than 2 minutes, all 5 carp were floating stiffly on the surface. A massive arapaima lazily swam over, opened its giant mouth, and taking in both water and fish, swallowed them in one gulp. The chat exploded with a flood of 666. So lame, they didn't even put up a fight. Gia, bring on the main course. Don't worry, he said, the best part is yet to come. As Gia spoke, he grabbed the small, portable tank you were in. This one is a fighter carp that didn't even die after falling from the 4th floor. Splash, you were dumped directly into the tank. A searing, burning pain instantly shot from every single scale and spread through your entire body. Oh, God, this water, how is it so hot? Your gills flared frantically. Every breath felt like you were swallowing scorching hot gravel. Your tail spasmed instinctively, your muscles feeling as if they would tear apart under the extreme temperature change. Host has entered high temperature waters. Current water temperature, 30 degrees Celsius. This exceeds the host's normal physiological limits. Warning, physiological functions are in disarray. Life force is rapidly depleting. System, help me. You screamed frantically in your mind. In your field of view, several huge, dark shapes swam slowly closer. An arapaima, an alligator gar, a silver arowana. Their scales shimmered with a cold, metallic light as they closed in on you. It's over. Just as you fell into despair, A silver arowana, its body pure white and as slender as a blade, was the first to lock its sights on you. Its snout was sharp as a needle. And at that moment, it's like a launched torpedo, heading straight for your flank. Whoosh, the threat of death jolts you awake. Get out of the way. You desperately whip your tail. Your body forces a sharp turn in the water as the white rocket's sharp teeth graze past your tail. 3 scales are instantly scraped off, and the intense pain nearly makes you black out. But you don't dare stop, frantically diving into the cluster of driftwood at the bottom of the tank. Where are you? Your vision is distorted by the murky water. You're surrounded by colossal, swimming creatures as you huddle in a crack in the driftwood. Your gills heave violently as you watch this underwater world in terror. Just then, the system's long silent voice finally rings out. Talent, dying, struggle, passively triggered. Host's desire to survive has reached its peak. Detecting that the current water temperature has just reached the limit of the host's enhanced physique's survival range. Please do not be alarmed, host. The moment the system's voice fades, you immediately feel it. Though the burning pain hasn't subsided, your body is frantically adapting to it. Your gills, they're actually starting to be able to, in this scalding water, draw in tiny, life-saving wisps of oxygen. You can survive. However, before you can even catch your breath, the white rocket that missed its attack has already turned around, approaching your hiding spot once more. It seems to have memorized your scent. It keeps probing the driftwood with its sharp snout, its sharp teeth making a clicking sound as they open and close. Go away. You press yourself tightly against the bottom of the driftwood, not daring to even move a fin. Suddenly, thump, a dull tapping sound comes from outside the tank. It's Ajia's finger. At this moment, the live comments in the stream had completely exploded. Oh my god, this carp's got something. It actually dodged the first attack. Gia GE, are you sure this is an ordinary carp? Its reaction speed is way too fast. Recording this, I'm recording this. Strongest feeder fish of the year. But Gia waved his hand impatiently. It's just a lucky carp, that's all. Haven't you all seen a fish jump before? He slapped the tank hard again, sending ripples through the water. Just you wait. In a tank with this many predators, it won't last 10 minutes. The tank's LED light casts a cold blue glow above you. Gia's face, reflected in his phone screen, looks as grim as iron. In the live stream, over 1,000 people were flooding the screen with comments. LMAO, the white rocket can't even handle one carp. This is Gia GE's epic fail, live. Totally worth it. Where's that instant kill you promised? This carp is way too good. A vein throbbed on Gia's temple. He violently grabbed 3 plump goldfish and dangled them in front of the camera. Take a good look, bros. This is what you call real feeder fish. Splash. The moment the fish hit the water, the entire tank erupted into a frenzy. That blade-like, silver-white rocket shot out from behind the artificial mountain like a bolt of lightning, snapping up the fattest goldfish in one bite. Blood clouded the water. The other 2 were devoured by a lurking red-tailed catfish and an alligator gar. The live comments exploded. Now this is what I'm talking about. More of this. This is what I love to see. Gia smugly wiped away some sweat and tapped his index finger heavily on the glass. The vibration made the water around you ripple. Did you all see that? That carp just now was purely lucky. He pressed his face close to the camera. The corner of his mouth curled into a cold smirk. If it manages to see tomorrow's sunrise, I'll wash my hair upside down on a live stream. Meanwhile, inside the fish tank, you were hiding in the shadows of the driftwood. Every single one of your scales was trembling. The 30°C water enveloped you like liquid fire. As your gills opened and closed, they drew in not oxygen, but a searing pain. Through the murky water, you could clearly see the remains of a common goldfish floating not far away. Half of its tail was still twitching neurotically. Host has been in high-temperature water for 47 minutes. Surface damage detected. 3 scales have fallen off the tail. Warning. Arapaima has entered the hunting range. Your gaze instantly locked ahead and to the right. The silver behemoth, nearly a meter long, was slowly patrolling. Its armor-like scales scraped against the artificial rockery, making a grating sound that set your teeth on edge. To your left, a small school of 5 piranhas was darting through the aquatic plants. Their crimson eyes gleamed in the gloom. System, you screamed in your mind, give me something useful. Today's survival reward, pain resistance +1. Now in effect. Suggestion. Pay attention to the direction of the current when seeking cover. You sighed internally, your mind instantly tensing. You stared intently at the ceramic filter 2 meters away. The rapid current there was a natural barrier. But to get there, you had to cross a completely exposed, open area. You took a deep gulp of water, the muscles in your tail tensing. You made your move, but the disturbance in the water also alerted the patrolling white rocket. That silvery white hunter instantly changed direction and shot straight toward you. Damn it, you swam as fast as you could, but the white rocket was faster. 3 centimeters, 2 centimeters, 1. Just as its sharp teeth were about to graze your tail fin, your body gave a sharp twist. Clack, the white rocket's teeth slammed hard against the stone slate. It let out a sharp crack. The pain thoroughly enraged it. A flash of silver suddenly pierced the water as the white rocket charged from an angle. Its blade-like snout aimed straight for your eye. In that split second, you dove down sharply, letting its sharp teeth graze the top of your head. It sliced off a small piece of your dorsal fin. The intense pain made your vision go black. But you didn't dare stop. Using the momentum, you tumbled over. and rush desperately toward the filter. Thud, your body slammed heavily against the ceramic casing, but you finally managed to squeeze into the narrow gap behind it. The white rocket circled anxiously outside for a few moments, and the live comments exploded again. Oh my god, this carp knows how to use blind spots. Did it bait the white rocket into hitting the rock on purpose? What a clever fish, Gia Ge. Your predator fish are useless. Ah, Gia's face turned completely grim. He rubbed his red eyes and suddenly grabbed a long-handled net. Alright guys, it's time to raise the stakes. The aquarium lid is yanked open, and a net starts violently churning through the water. Driftwood and aquatic plants are tossed aside, instantly exposing your hiding spot. The giant arapaima is startled, its massive body suddenly swinging around. As its silvery shadow looms over you, you can even make out the bony, tooth-like structures deep in its throat. Backed into a corner, you make a desperate, crazy move. A blinding blue light suddenly erupts, turning the entire aquarium into a glowing neon cube. Take the chance to bolt toward the surface before anyone can even react. Using every ounce of strength, you leap out of the water. Smack. Aji, who's standing on a stool holding his phone close to the water for the stream, sees nothing but a dark blur flying upward, as a fishtail slams hard right across his face. The camera spins wildly before finally settling on a view of the ceiling. The chat goes absolutely wild. Ha ha ha, a literal slap in the face. Is this carp some kind of magical spirit? My god, by the time a disheveled Aji fumbles for his phone, you've already retreated to the most hidden corner underwater. And instead of dropping, the number of viewers in the stream is actually climbing. Breaking the 1000 mark once again. Wow, G's roar makes the camera shake violently. Everyone, hit that follow button right now. I'm betting you all right now, this carp is definitely not making it through the night. This is just its final burst of life before it dies. Ending the stream. We'll see the results tomorrow. With that, the stream instantly goes pitch black. After shutting down the live, Aji glares coldly at the fish tank. The light falls on his precious arapaima. A pathetic little carp thinks it can actually turn the tables? It's 1 a.m., 47 minutes. Only the faint glow of streetlights from the window remains in the tank. Quote, you're curled up behind the filter, every single scale aching with a dull pain. Don't these guys ever sleep? Watching the predators still on the prowl, you actually start to miss your days at the fish shop. At least there, you didn't have to worry about being hunted by other fish. Compared to this, the past was absolute paradise. Post-survival time, 7 hours and 23 minutes. Current status, moderate injuries. Torn dorsal fin, and missing scales on the tail. Warning, 3 alligator gars detected entering hunting mode. Your gills tighten instinctively. 3 alligator gars, looking like prehistoric monsters, are circling in the mid-water, their dagger-like teeth glinting. To your right, that giant gourami is scanning every corner with eyes like glowing light bulbs. My god, how many dangerous creatures are in this tank? Suddenly, an all-black ghost knifefish glides past like a phantom. You instinctively retreat deeper into the shadows, only to bump into something hard. Right now, it's slowly opening its tiny, bead-like eyes. You're dead. As if receiving some kind of signal, every predator in the tank begins to stir at once. The first to attack was the silver arowana, its slender body lunging like a silver bolt of lightning. You desperately dodged to the side, its teeth scraping past your gill cover. Tearing off a bloody scale. You gasped in pain. But you didn't dare to stop, using the momentum to dart towards the driftwood area. Only to come face to face with a gaping maw of a tiger shovel-nosed catfish. In that split second, you twisted violently, your tail slapping hard against a stone slate on the tank floor. With a dull thud, the sound startled the nearby red-tailed catfish, making it dart backward, knocking the tiger shovel-nose away. But the danger was far from over. That 2-pound tarpon had somehow gotten behind you, its sharp teeth sinking right into the base of your tail. The sharp pain made your vision go black. You thrashed your body wildly, dragging it with you as you slammed into the heating rod. SSSS's. Tiny bubbles rose from its scalded skin. The tarpon recoiled in pain and let go. You seized the chance to dive into a thicket of java fern, only to hear a loud crunch. The Florida snapping turtle had been waiting there. It snapped, crushing the base of the plants in one bite. Is this ever going to end? You roared in your mind. You turned your head and came face to face with a giant, bumpy maw. It was the dinosaur Bishir, the one known as the old fossil. 412 a.m. You've lost count of how many times you've had to escape. Your left eye is scratched. Your vision is blurry. Your dorsal fin has been nearly ripped in half. And that wound on your abdomen, it stings with every breath. Ding. Talent. Last stand, activated. Pain resistance increased by 60%. Temporary muscle power increased by 30%. Without this talent, you would have died countless times already. But, even though it keeps you alive, it still hurts so much. In a daze, you saw the 80-centimeter arapaima finally begin to move. The true tyrant of this tank. It was going to end this farce itself. Its massive body glided through the water, causing even the gravel on the tank floor to tremble. Is this the end? You stared at the approaching shadow, your tail twitching uncontrollably. Suddenly, you noticed a glint of light on the tank wall. It was the feeding port that Gia had pried open so roughly last night. A tiny gap remained along its edge. The arapaima's enormous mouth was already descending upon you. You used the last of your strength, your tail pushing off a large rock on the bottom with all its might. Whoosh, you shot right through the gap in the Arapima's gill cover, leaving a trail of blood beads behind. Using that momentum, you shot towards the surface like a bullet. In the instant before that gap could close, smack, half of your body was stuck in the feeding port. The Arapima, enraged, slammed against the glass. The entire tank shook. Thump, thump, thump. You used the opportunity to squeeze all the way into the feeding tube. This was a complete blind spot. You gasped for breath inside the dark tube. Through the opening, you watched the predators swimming outside and suddenly broke into a bloody grin. Just you wait. Tomorrow, I'll be even stronger. I can't die. I have to survive. Once I'm stronger, I will carve out a place for myself in this tank. The rest of the night passed without incident. 10 a.m. 15 minutes in, Jia, with a serious case of bedhead, started his live stream. What's all the noise about? With injuries like that from last night, there's no way. His voice came to an abrupt halt. On screen, a carp, covered in wounds, slowly swam out. You were missing a gill cover, your tail fin swayed like a tattered rag. But the most shocking part was the V-shaped scar on its head, so deep you could see bone. It glistened grimly under the light. The live comments section instantly went blank. Then, it exploded. It's that injured and it's still alive? Oh my god. It's a scar carp, brother Jia. Is your face stinging? Jia almost dropped his phone. He glared at you, the corner of his mouth twitching slightly. How is that possible? Jia suddenly raised his voice. He slammed his fist on the coffee table. It won't live past noon today. All of you, look at these wounds. He shoved the camera closer. A close-up on your mangled tail fin and exposed gill tissue. Injuries like these, a normal fish would have died 10 times over. The mood in the stream instantly split. True, those wounds are definitely fatal. But it's alive. It must be a final burst of life. Jia took a deep breath, his cynical expression returning to his face. Bros, don't make a big deal out of it. It's just a final burst of life, that's all. He turned, walked to the fridge, and pulled out a plastic bag. Let's see what's supposed to happen to real feeder fish. Splash. 5 plump crucian carp were dumped into the tank. The Arapima slowly swam over. It swallowed one whole fish and water, filtering a crimson mist of blood from its gills. The other predatory fish quickly devoured their portions as the blood mist spread. The comments section erupted. This is so intense. Weird, why aren't they eating the injured carp? Look, it's using the blood mist as cover. You were using the cover of the blood mist, quietly moving toward the filter. Watch, it won't make it. Jia scoffed. Before he could finish his sentence, the black ghost knifefish suddenly darted from the shadows, stabbing straight for your belly. In the nick of time, you made a sharp turn. The knifefish's sharp teeth only left a new scratch on your already battered tail fin. Oh, my. Streamer, is your face still okay? Need some ice for that burn, streamer? Give this carp more screen time. Jia sneered, deliberately ignoring these comments. Whatever. What's so interesting about a busted up carp, bros? Check out my tank of predators. He began to introduce his darlings. The camera deliberately avoided you, but in the stream, everyone was captivated by you. They were all waiting in anticipation, wondering what other surprises you, the scar carp, could bring. 11:47 at night. The fish tank is plunged into darkness. You're curled up behind the filter. Every inch of your muscles is trembling in pain. Today's escape nearly exhausted all your energy. Sigh, why am I so unlucky? Host survival time, 48 hours, 12 minutes. Current infection level, 41% and rising. Warning, abnormal rise in body temperature. System, you call out weakly in your mind. How much longer can I last? Based on current projections, probability of survival until tomorrow is 29.7%. Recommendation, find an antibiotic substance immediately. With great effort, you turn your eyes towards the few blue pills settled at the bottom of the tank. That's the fish medicine Jia put in, but 3 African tigerfish are prowling there. Their eyes gleam with a faint green light in the darkness. Time to risk it all. You slowly move your body, your broken scales making a harsh, scraping sound. It immediately attracts a patrolling black ghost knifefish. Just as it closes in, you suddenly recall a memory from a past life. You violently strike the heating tube with your tail fin. Clang, the sound of vibrating metal travels through the water. The black ghost knifefish immediately halts, on high alert. Further away, the Arapima is also startled. Taking advantage of this brief opening, you shoot towards the bottom of the tank like an arrow from a bow. The African tigerfish notice immediately, but just as they turn, boom, the Arapima's enormous body sweeps through. It sends the 3 tigerfish tumbling. You seize the chance to snatch 2 of the pills in your mouth. You turn and flee, the sharp teeth of the alligator snapping turtle grazing your underside. It tears off a bloody scale, but you've already managed to dart back to the safe zone. Broad-spectrum antibiotic detected. Infection level reduced to 19%. You hide behind cover, quietly recovering your strength. At 12 a.m. sharp, the system's voice chimes in, drawing today's random reward. Congratulations, you have received basic regeneration, wound healing speed plus 400%. Duration, 12 hours. Bonus attribute, plus 10 permanent constitution points for the host. A warm current instantly flows through your entire body. You feel the changes with shock. A 4-fold increase in healing speed. You can practically feel your wounds healing in real time. More importantly, there's the permanent increase of 10 constitution points. It makes you feel as if the very core of your body has grown stronger. This is a turning point. You carefully test your body's movements. Feeling this newfound power, through the murky water, that pack of predators is still patrolling tirelessly. But now, there is no longer only fear in your eyes. Just you wait. You slowly bare your bloody teeth in a grin. Tomorrow will be a better day. 7:05 in the morning. Jia pushes open the door with half a sausage hanging from his mouth. He casually tosses his backpack down. A few bags of fish food fall out. The livestream title has already been changed to Monster Fish Live. Still focusing on the arapaima. Morning, everyone, he mumbles, casually setting up his phone. Let's see how many people are here today to watch the end of that beat-up carp. As the light swept across the fish tank, Jia's hand froze in midair. The sausage dropped from the corner of his mouth. On camera, the carp that everyone had sentenced to death was now slowly swimming in the mid-level water. But your swimming was noticeably more steady and powerful. Oh my god, it still didn't die. This is insane. That healing ability is just insane. Brother Jia's #1 hater. Ha 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 ha, streamer, does your face sting? Dharma protector of the carp cult donated flowers ×1, long live Scar Carp. Jia's hands were shaking violently. He irritably crushed the cigarette on the floor with his foot. Don't make a fuss, he said, trying to act calm. But his voice was an octave higher. It's just the wound scabbing over. Within 3 days, it will be dead. I guarantee it. After saying that, he still kept the camera on his predator fish, but today's live comments were unusually different. There were more and more discussions about you, and many people were even demanding more screen time for you. Annoyed, Jia pretended he didn't see. But you, inside the tank, this time, kept staring at Jia during the livestream, searing his face into your memory. So this is the guy who treated me like fish food, huh? Your nimble eyes watched him in secret, burning with rage. The torture you endured these past few days, nearly dying several times. It was all thanks to him. A streamer, huh? Using me as food, are you? Just you wait, I will not let this go. Late at night, the livestream ended. The fish tank returned to darkness. Host survival time, 72 hours and 17 minutes. Current status, moderate injuries, slowly recovering. Hunger level, 67 out of 100, currently hungry. A sharp pain shot through your abdomen. You hadn't had a proper meal in almost 3 days. Your body's rapid recovery had consumed a massive amount of energy. You were frantic with hunger, but Jia only fed live bait to those big guys. You couldn't compete with them at all. You had to find a way to get some food. Your eyes scanned the entire tank. You noticed 2 red-tailed catfish patrolling near the rockery. They often fought over territory, and between them was a leftover scrap of fish from last night's feeding. A plan began to form in your mind. You slowly moved your tail fin, approaching silently like a falling leaf, making yourself look so weak that you might die at any moment. The red-tailed catfish with the injured back was the first to notice you. It warily flared its gills. You deliberately paused in front of it. Then, pretending to panic, you suddenly darted towards the other red-tailed catfish. The injured red-tailed catfish was instantly enraged and charged straight for you. Just as it was about to hit you, you made a sudden sharp turn. Its sharp snout scraped against your scales as it crashed heavily into its old rival. The 2 red-tailed catfish were instantly tangled together, sending scales flying. They stirred up a cloud of murky water, and you seized the chance to dart past along the bottom. You precisely snatch the morsel of meat. The taste of food explodes in your mouth. Even though it's only the size of a fingernail, for you right now. It's an absolute lifesaver. You watch the 2 fish that are still fighting. Sneer appears on your fish lips. This tank is forging you into a true hunter. You hover in a crevice of the fake mountain, observing cautiously. This fish tank just went through a storm. The water is still murky, with scales and streaks of blood floating everywhere. A few of the wounded, aggressive fish have lost their former arrogance. They drift listlessly in the corner. Your gaze cuts through the chaos, locking onto the deepest, darkest corner of the tank. That's the Arapaima's territory. An idea explodes in your mind. If I can just keep it from attacking me. You know very well that the beast, nearly a meter long, is the undisputed emperor of this tank. Even that school of piranhas doesn't dare cause trouble on its turf. And you are the weakest, most insignificant being in this tank. Constantly teetering on the brink of death every single day. Let's not even mention that any single piranha could take your life. But this tank has its own rules. Every big shot has their own territory. That Arapaima might wander around during the day, but at night, when it rests, it always returns to its den on the far right side of the tank. As long as you can blend into its resting area, or follow right behind it during the day, its massive body will be your greatest shield. Besides, who would dare approach it, hiding underneath it? You'd be the safest one in the entire tank. Your mind is made up. You no longer hesitate. You gently flick your tail fin, feeling the new wound there. The bleeding has stopped, but the sharp, stabbing pain acts like an alarm, reminding you just how much danger you're in. You have to find a new place. The filter and the fake mountain are not safe enough. Using the floating debris as cover, bit by bit, You inch your way with extreme slowness toward the Arapima's territory. The closer you get, the more you can feel a unique, heavy vibration in the current. It's the tiny pulse created by the Arapima's breathing. You're almost there. You stop behind a rock, holding your breath. From this angle, you can already see the silhouette of that behemoth. Its silver-gray scales, in the dim light, look like tempered metal. Its enormous body rises and falls gently with each breath. Just then, you notice that on its left gill cover, there's a fresh wound. It must be from the fight just now. An opportunity, you scream in your mind. You swim toward the bottom of the tank with extreme slowness, gently picking up a fallen waterweed with your mouth. You're imitating a cleaner fish. They often do this sort of work, cleaning parasites off the mainstream fish. As you slowly get closer, you pray frantically in your mind. Please, boss, don't turn around. Don't get startled and swallow me. Your heart is pounding like a drum. You cautiously approach the Arapima's wound. When you're still half a meter away, you stop, and gently spit out the waterweed in your mouth, letting it drift slowly with the current toward the Arapima's wound. Suddenly, the Arapima's eyeball moved. Its huge body quivered slightly, and you instantly froze on the spot. You didn't even dare to move a gill cover. Time seemed to stand still. Every second felt as long as a century. Finally, it resumed that slow, heavy breathing rhythm. This could work. A wave of euphoria washed over you. This giant beast hadn't even paid you any mind. Which made sense, with your tiny body, to it. You weren't even big enough to get stuck in its teeth, let alone be a threat. For the next few hours, you were in this thrilling state of dancing on a knife's edge, repeatedly playing this dangerous game. At first, you just tossed seaweed from a distance. Then, you slowly closed the distance, occasionally bringing over some bits of fish food that had sunk to the bottom. You were extremely cautious. Every single move was precisely calculated to stay just outside the Arapima's reaction distance. Soon, when the moonlight once again filtered through the curtains, you were able to swim to a spot just 30 centimeters away from it. And it had no reaction. This distance, for a fish, is basically the equivalent of humans being face to face. The test was entering its final stage. You took a deep breath, preparing to take the final and most critical step. Success or failure, all came down to this. In the dead of night, you made your boldest attempt. You gently swam toward the area beneath its flank. There was a flat slab of stone there, a resting spot that seemed tailor-made for you. Slowly now, don't get excited. Stay calm, you encouraged yourself in your mind. Your scales were practically standing on end. Every muscle in your body was tense, ready to flee for your life at any moment. You gently swished your tail, barely stirring the water, like a feather, slowly drifting over. However, just as your tail fin gently brushed against its side, the behemoth's gill cover suddenly flared open. The movement was like a clap of thunder, instantly making your mind go blank. Your whole body went cold. You tensed up completely, preparing to meet your death. But unexpectedly, the Arapima just flicked its tail fin slightly, adjusting its position. It actually made more space for you. You were stunned on the spot. A few seconds later, a huge wave of euphoria washed over you. You quickly swished your tail and rushed over. You carefully settled down on that slab of stone. The current created by the Arapima's breathing brought you the most abundant supply of oxygen. And its enormous body became your most indestructible shield. It worked. I actually did it. Your heart was pounding so hard it felt like it would explode. The plan was a success. You've successfully latched onto this Arapima, your golden protector. As long as that streamer doesn't go crazy again. From now on, you have a protector. You quickly calm down. Cautious. You have to be cautious. There isn't a single easy opponent in this tank. They're all tough guys from the Amazon. Who knows what they're thinking? What if one day it's in a bad mood and decides to swallow you up for a snack? Thinking this, you quietly and stealthily put a little more distance between you two. The first ray of morning sun shines into the tank, and the water, silent all night, comes alive again. Splash! A reckless piranha swims too close. The Arapima erupts in an instant. Its giant tail fin is like an iron gate. With one violent slap, that piranha is sent flying. It smashes hard against the tank wall and is knocked out on the spot. And you were hiding right by the Arapima's side. Completely unharmed, you even reacted quickly, dashing out to snatch the half-eaten piece of food the piranha spat out before it was knocked unconscious. It seems this protector was the right choice. You gloat to yourself. You carefully observe the Arapima's reaction and notice that toward your scrap-picking behavior. It doesn't seem to be annoyed. No, that's not right. It's not that it wasn't annoyed, it's that it never even bothered to look at you. Which makes sense. Gia usually feeds it live fish several times your size. Why would it be interested in a little thing like you? Finally, you've settled down for now. After 3 days of being on edge, your nerves can finally relax a little. Ever since you arrived in this wretched tank, for 3 whole days, you've barely closed your eyes. You were either being chased or recovering from your injuries. If it weren't for your system, any other carp would have been long dead by now. That's right, the system. You suddenly remember that you haven't drawn today's random reward yet. System, draw prize. Drawing daily survival reward. Congratulations, host. You have obtained agility +1. Late at night, on the note platform, at 2:17 in the morning. A user with the ID Aquarium Watch took your interactions with Ajia from the past few days and edited them into a 3-minute and 27-second video, adding some incredibly hype background music. And posted it. The title was extremely eye-catching. 9885730. 3 days without dying. What is a miracle? The Carp Emperor, Scar Carp, shows you. The video starts with Ajia picking you up from the wet market. The bumpy journey, and then you being thrown into the tank of predators. For 3 whole days, all the high-energy clips of you contending with this tank full of ferocious fish were all edited in. As soon as the video was posted, it instantly blew up. In just a little over 10 hours. The topic #ScarCarp Survival Challenge had its view count break 10,000. Countless people were initially drawn in by the title, but after they finished the entire video, the live comments in the comment section were filled with just one phrase: "Oh my god. What kind of carp can be carried in a bag with no water for 20 minutes, fall from upstairs, and still not die? This fish is just too tough to kill." The more you watch, the more surreal the story gets. All the viewers watching the video could feel their eyes popping out. Thrown into a tropical tank with a 30-degree temperature difference, it didn't get scalded to death. Instead, it was full of life. Facing a chase from a tank full of apex predators, it actually managed to survive with its slick moves. The batch of fish bought with you was completely wiped out in less than 5 minutes. Only you, Scar Carp. You're doing just fine, and after just one night, you were battered and bruised, looking like you were on the brink of death. But the next day, you had actually regained all your energy. At that point, the viewers just started cheering how badass it was. And what's even more ridiculous is that you know how to dodge, predict moves, and use the terrain. When the video reached its end, the streamer, Ajia, completely lost his cool as he grabbed a PVC pipe to go after you. The live comments were instantly flooded. Everyone said the streamer was a sore loser. But right after, when they saw your phantom-like movements in the murky water, everyone was stunned. If it weren't for the live stream recording proving this video was real, with no signs of Photoshop, who would dare believe it? How could a carp possess such a level of intelligence? The comments section completely exploded. This is so unscientific. That healing speed is just ridiculous. If my 10,000 yuan koi had this kind of ability, I'd feed it the best food every single day. 30 degrees, right? Someone, drop the temperature by 10 degrees for me. Let these tropical fish see who the real genius is. A true dragon is born from the harshest of trials. This Scar Carp is definitely sentient. Scar Carp, call him Brother Scar. Oh my god, this is so hype. I'm getting pumped up just watching a fish. This is more epic than any anime. Look at Brother Scar's eyes. Those aren't the eyes of a fish. There's a light shining in them. There were people making memes, people analyzing, and people celebrating wildly. The discussion completely blew up. When they saw the scene of Ajia losing it at the end of the video, even more people felt their hearts tighten. Oh my god, the streamer can't take the loss. Don't tell me Brother Scar was actually killed, was he? For sure, the streamer himself got involved. How could a little carp possibly escape? Judging by how the streamer looked at the end of the video, things don't look good for Brother Scar. Waiting for a follow-up, ping me when the streamer goes live. This streamer is so stupid. If he just took good care of this Scar Carp, wouldn't that be an insane amount of traffic? The person above is clueless. How can one beat-up carp be worth more than my whole tank of Amazonian predators? Can it bring more clout than my Arapaima? Talk is just talk. Countless new viewers started frantically tagging the video's owner, begging for the streamer's channel ID. Soon, below the video, Ajia's stream channel ID was pinned to the top. In an instant, the number of followers on Ajia's account started to skyrocket. Everyone was waiting for him to go live. In the afternoon, in the studio, Ajia was pacing back and forth like a caged animal. His phone was practically blowing up with notifications from the streaming platform. Private messages from fans and questions from former business partners were flooding in, all because of this sudden surge of attention. It caught him completely off guard. Since when had he become this famous? But the moment he searched for the reason why, a wave of pure frustration washed over him. He irritably clawed at his greasy hair, which hadn't been washed in 3 days, feeling like he was about to lose his mind. The clock on the wall pointed to 2:55 in the afternoon. Still a few hours left until his stream was unbanned. God, what a mess. Ajia kicked a PVC pipe on the floor, and it went clattering across the room until it rolled right in front of the fish tank. He looked up and saw you immediately. That carp, the one the whole internet was now calling Scar Carp. You were leisurely swimming around his precious Arapaima, moving with an air of ease. It was as if you were silently mocking him, and Ajia just couldn't wrap his head around it. Why wouldn't his beloved, baby, that massive Arapaima, just swallow a little fish like you in one bite? Even more so, he couldn't understand why a pathetic, broken-down carp could attract so much attention when he had a whole tank full of monster fish. Was his top-tier Arapaima not 10,000 times better than some scruffy fish like you? Hey, Gia, the platform sent word. If there's one more violation, they're going to throttle our traffic as a penalty. His assistant, Xiao Wang, poked his head through the door, speaking with extreme caution. Maybe we shouldn't show that carp on the stream today? Even his channel moderators were blowing up his private messages, begging him to stay calm. Ajia's knuckles cracked as he clenched his fists, but in the end, He just gave a weary wave of his hand. Go get ready. Know what's at stake. Finally. Night fell, and the stream was finally unbanned. The equipment was set, and the broadcast started right on time. Aegea forced a stiff, friendly smile that he'd been practicing for half an hour. Hey there, everyone, I'm back. His voice was an octave higher than usual. It sounded incredibly fake, but to his surprise, the hype was even more insane than he'd imagined. Viewers started pouring in like a tidal wave. In an instant, the number of people watching live shot straight up to 5,000. The chat went absolutely nuclear. Where's Scar Carp? Cut the crap. Show us Scar Carp. The streamer looks like he's in a pretty rough mood, huh? Stop pretending. You're probably fuming inside, aren't you? You didn't actually kill Scar Carp, did you? I'm warning you. Aegea forced himself to ignore the comments. So, for today, I'm going to give you all a proper tour of my tank's ecosystem. His voice was trembling slightly. He intentionally pointed the camera at his expensive silver arowana, but the viewers weren't having any of it. We don't want the arowana. We want Scar Carp. Is Scar Bro really gone? Say something, man. The veins in Aegea's temples were throbbing, and his fingernails dug deep into his palms. He took a deep breath, the words practically hissing through his teeth. He forced himself to turn the camera toward the other side of the tank. Fine, here, since everyone wanted to see that carp. The camera slowly panned, and when the image finally focused on the depths of the tank, everyone in the livestream fell silent for a moment, and then the chat absolutely erupted. There you were, floating peacefully next to the giant Arapima's huge dorsal fin. One as massive as a submarine, the other as agile as a dagger. The two creatures, with their extremely different sizes, created a wondrous and harmonious picture that no one could have imagined. When the livestream was forcibly shut down by the platform, you saw the man named Aegea collapse onto the floor. Like a statue that had lost its soul, you swished your tail, and silently hid behind the driftwood, coldly watching his furious and frustrated state. You were a little confused. What was this person making a fuss about now? But, the way he looked at you was so strange. For 3 days straight, he was the one who bought you. Yet he acted as if you were the one who had provoked him. Your mind was filled with questions. Although you could see his movements, you had no hearing. Your ear bones could only help you sense vibrations in the water and loud noises. Separated by a layer of glass and water, you couldn't hear what he was saying at all. If only you could hear. That way, you could at least know what he was mumbling about every day. In case he was plotting some nasty scheme against you, you could prepare in advance. After a while, seeing that Aegea was getting ready to leave, you also swished your tail, preparing to go stay in Big Brother Arapima's den. But just then, your swimming body suddenly froze. A flash of insight went through your mind, as if you'd thought of something. But it was still very vague. You cautiously looked around the entire tank. In the dim light, the surroundings were terrifyingly quiet. Other than the sound of the predatory fish swimming, there was no other movement. Something was very wrong. What was it? You racked your brain, your gaze sweeping over every corner of the tank. Finally, you remembered. That streamer. He ended the stream today without feeding us. The moment you thought of this, a sudden panic seized you. You immediately stopped lingering and swam faster towards the Big Brother's den. I'm doomed. I'm doomed. This guy, he's trying to create a deathmatch in here. He didn't feed us today. Doesn't he just want to starve them so they'll attack me? You knew very well, Big Brother Arapima was one thing. But if those piranhas and those predatory fish that need to eat several meals a day ever go crazy from hunger, then something terrible is bound to happen. It's late at night. In the early morning, the glass of the aquarium glowed with a cold, blue light under the moon. The 30-degree, temperature-controlled water now made you feel a bone-chilling cold. You slowly moved your tail fin, letting your body float in the area with the calmest current, conserving as much energy as possible. The burning sensation in your stomach grew stronger and stronger, as if countless tiny teeth were gnawing at your insides. It was almost the 4th day. You murmured in your consciousness, your gills opening and closing with difficulty. Host status check in progress. Hunger level. 91 out of 100, extreme hunger. Stamina 39. 100, frail, warning, sustained hunger will result in strength -2, agility -3. A stream of bubbles escapes from the corner of your mouth as you stare at the tiny particles floating in the water. The fierce fish that Aegea had been deliberately starving were now also beginning to grow restless. You can clearly see the swimming pattern of the piranha school becoming erratic. Their slender bodies dart back and forth among the water plants like silver lightning, making sudden turns from time to time, baring their deathly white teeth. They're even hungrier than I am. Your tail fin trembles slightly. A dangerous idea begins to form in your mind. When these carnivorous fish get hungry enough, it's all over. It's about to begin. Suddenly, a red-tailed catfish darts past overhead, the current it creates stirring the gravel at the base of the driftwood. This usually lazy giant now has its gills flared wide, its light bulb-like eyes constantly scanning its surroundings. Driven by hunger, you instantly tense every muscle in your body. These beasts could break their territorial boundaries at any moment. Host, please be aware. 3 African tigerfish detected entering an active state. It is advised to find cover immediately, but you don't move. Instead, you narrow your fish eyes, carefully sizing up the agitated predators. The silver arowana's scales have lost their usual luster as it circles anxiously near the decorative rockery. The piranha school swimming pattern is growing more chaotic. Even the Florida alligator snapping turtle is poking its head out of its shell. Its beady eyes flicker with a wary light. Perfect. Your tail fin sways gently as a plan gradually becomes clear in your mind. Since you won't let me live in peace, then these precious pets of yours can forget about living in peace, either. You deliberately swim near the school of piranhas. Then, you suddenly feign utter weakness, your body tilting to the side. You swim sluggishly, even twitching every now and then. This performance immediately attracts the two hungriest piranhas. They shoot towards you like silver bullets. Now is the time. The moment before the piranhas can bite, you accelerate violently. You precisely guide them to charge toward the resting red-tail catfish. Water splashes everywhere. The piranhas slam hard into the red-tail catfish's flank. The latter immediately flies into a rage, opening its massive maw. The fish instantly start tearing at each other, scales flying, staining the surrounding water red. Still not enough. You deftly circle behind the fray, slapping the water with your tail to create noise. The commotion immediately attracts the starving silver arowana. Its enormous body charges forward like an underwater chariot. You calculate the angle, dodging to the side in the nick of time. Unable to stop, the silver arowana crashes right into the battle between the piranhas and the red-tail catfish. Boom! The three fierce fish are instantly tangled in a struggling mass. The arowana's armored scales scrape the catfish's skin. The piranhas seize the opportunity to bite the arowana's fin. In agony, the red-tail catfish thrashes its tail wildly, striking a passing tigerfish. The chaos spreads like a plague. The scent of blood stimulates every fish's nerves. The predators, already starving, completely lose their minds. And not just them, the other fish also begin to swim restlessly around the battlefield. Even big bro arapaima swims over, its massive body like that of an ancient behemoth. It keeps its eyes fixed on the battle, while you hide in a crevice in the driftwood. You watch the chaotic battle you orchestrated with a cold eye. Your plan is being executed perfectly. Without food, just let these predators fight among themselves. As long as one gets injured, the scattered scraps of meat are your only hope for survival. Just then, the scent of blood also attracted the Florida alligator snapping turtle. It crawled slowly from the bottom of the tank, looking clumsy. But it was actually swift, biting down hard on the red-tail catfish's tail. A perfect opportunity. You immediately swim behind the snapping turtle. This old beast always drops scraps of meat when it tears at its prey. Sure enough, a few pieces of bloody fish meat were slowly sinking. You dash forward, precisely catching the largest piece. The delicious shreds of meat melt in your mouth. The long-awaited feeling of a full stomach makes you almost tremble. And just as you were enjoying this rare feast, the battle suddenly escalated. That silver arowana was bitten in the eye by a piranha and went into a complete frenzy. Madly rammed into the rockery and driftwood, making the entire tank tremble. Perfect. A sharp glint flashes in your eyes. As the free-for-all continued, the situation in the tank grew more and more brutal. The 8,000 yuan silver arowana lost a third of its scales, and the red-tail catfish's beautiful tail fin was torn to shreds. You swim to the glass, watching the scales and streaks of blood drifting in the water. A thrill of vengeance surges within you. This is exactly the result you wanted. At 6:30 in the morning, Jia, with heavy dark circles under his eyes, pushed open the studio door. He was drinking at a bar until 3 in the morning, and now his temples are still throbbing. Honestly, that useless carp should finally be done for today, right? I didn't feed them yesterday, so even if it didn't starve to death, it should have been eaten by my babies by now. The moment Jia walked in, he headed straight for his floor-to-ceiling predator tank. Let me see, where is that worthless carp? His muttering, as he rubbed his temples, came to an abrupt halt. The breakfast bag in his hand dropped to the floor with a thud. Scalding soy milk splashed onto his pants, but he didn't feel a thing. The scene in the tank hit him like a sledgehammer to the skull. The 8,800 yuan silver arowana looked like a tattered rag, struggling to swim at the bottom, with large patches of its scales peeled away, revealing pink muscle tissue. The 3,500 yuan red-tail catfish was huddled in a corner. Its iconic, vibrant red-tail fin now nothing but a few lonely spines. 6 African tigerfish, each costing 480 yuan, were floating belly up at the surface. One of them had even been bitten in half. The horrific sight made Jia's mind go completely blank. As if he'd been struck, he rushed to the side of the tank. His lips trembled as he scanned the tank. Thank goodness. His most precious arapaima was unharmed. Otherwise, Jia probably would have fainted on the spot. But even so, Jia's Adam's apple bobbed. His legs suddenly gave out, and he collapsed to his knees in front of the tank with a thud. His fingers scraped against the glass, leaving white marks, and his voice trembled unnaturally. My fish, in the water, you had already heard the commotion. Right now, you are calmly hiding behind your big brother, the arapaima. Through the murky, bloody water, you can clearly see the full progression of Jia's expression from confusion to shock, and finally, to a contortion of pure agony. That face, usually so arrogant, was now as white as a sheet, the veins on his temples bulging. The corners of his mouth twitched uncontrollably. You were suddenly overcome with sheer delight. It's here, after all your hard work last night. Risking your life to prepare this grand gift for that guy, it's finally been delivered. This is only the beginning. You deliberately swim over to the corpse of a piranha. Pretending to nibble on something, you reveal half of your body. You keep glancing at Aegea with your round, beady eyes, deliberately adjusting your position. You make sure he can see how full of life you are as your silhouette slowly glides past his eyes. His gaze is pinned dead on you, watching your every move. Aegea's breathing suddenly turns heavy, he scrambles up from his knees to stand. His hands grip the edge of the fish tank so hard his knuckles turn white. It's you. His voice sounds like it's being squeezed through his teeth. It has to be you, you damn fish. He suddenly turns and lunges toward the workbench. He fumbles to turn on his live streaming gear, and the moment the camera lens opens, his pale, haggard face and messy hair appear right on the screen. What's going on this early in the morning? Look at Jay's look. Where did he go last night? Wait, what's that in the background of the tank? As the camera turns toward the aquarium, the chat instantly explodes. Oh my god. What happened? How did the silver arowana end up like that? The piranhas are all gone. Where's Brother Blade? We want to see Brother Blade. As if responding to the chat's calls, you swim elegantly from behind the driftwood, the V-shaped scar on your head shimmering under the aquarium lights. Your scales are even more lustrous than yesterday. You even give a beautiful flick of your tail right in front of the camera. Brother Blade. I heard some people wanted to see me dead. MVP of the night, Scarface Carp. The Carp's revenge, Bro J. Where are my fish? Where did my whole tank of fish go? Aegea's left hand starts shaking uncontrollably. He tries to take a deep breath to calm down, only to completely lose his mind when he sees the chat. The streamer's face has gone totally pale, ha 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 ha. I suggest switching careers to raising carp. Brother Blade, I just love how you hate me but can't do anything about me. What do you guys know? Aegea suddenly slams his fist on the desk, his voice cracking with tears. Do you have any idea how much these fish are worth? I had that silver arowana flown in all the way from Malaysia. I raised those red-tail catfish for 2 whole years. Now it's all gone. His expression shifts quickly from rage to agony as he claws at his hair frantically with both hands. But the chat just gets more hilarious. Whoa, take it easy, streamer. Don't cry, Jay, stand up and keep at it. Brother Blade. Is that all? It's definitely this carp. Aegea suddenly leans in close to the camera. His eyes are bloodshot. This thing is absolutely not normal. Look, it doesn't have a single scratch on it. Does that even make sense? Makes sense. Perfectly fine sense. Because he's Brother Blade, Aegea's breathing gets faster and more ragged. He suddenly turns around and starts rummaging through the tool cabinet like a madman. Today, I'm definitely going to. Definitely. He stops abruptly when his hand touches a metal object. A complex, twisted smile spreads across his face. It's a landing net specifically designed for handling large fish. Watch closely, everyone. Aegea's voice is suddenly, terrifyingly calm. Today, I'm going to show you what it means to professionally handle a problem fish. He picks up the landing net with trembling hands and aims the opening at you in the water. The chat goes wild instantly. Streamer, don't do anything reckless. You notice the danger from the change in Aegea's expression and nimbly spun around in the water. You hid directly behind the arapaima, and Aegea's aim followed. But he hesitated, not daring to lower the net. What if he accidentally injured this arapaima worth over 10,000? Come out, you, get out here. Aegea hysterically banged on the glass with the net handle, his voice already tinged with tears. You, get out here. Just then, his phone suddenly started vibrating like crazy. The platform's super moderator sent 3 consecutive messages. Your live stream has been reported for suspected animal abuse. A large number of viewer complaints have been detected. Live stream banned for 24 hours. The last message was like the straw that broke the camel's back. Aegea completely collapsed. He slumped to the floor, staring blankly at the devastated fish tank, mechanically muttering to himself. The 8,800 silver arowana, the 3,500 red-tail catfish, the 1,200 piranha. But the live stream comments reached a fever pitch at that moment. Ha 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 ha, a massive meltdown, live on site. Brother Dao, is that all you've got? I suggest the streamer change his ID. The streamer who got wrecked by a carp. Got my dose of happiness for the day. As the comments flew by in an instant, the live stream suddenly went black. After the stream was shut down, Aegea panted heavily, sitting on the spot for a long time. After a good while, he slowly got up and walked to the fish tank. He looked at the few fish corpses in the tank without a word. His fingertips hovered over the water's surface for a full 3 seconds before he dared to dip them in. The moment his finger touched the silver arowana's corpse, his eyebrows twitched uncontrollably twice. He gritted his back teeth and carefully lifted the fish corpse with the net. How strange. My fish in this tank never used to fight before. These last 2 days, why are they fighting so viciously? He bent down, leaning in for a closer look, his nose almost touching the rotting fish flesh. The putrid smell shot straight to his brain, but he didn't even flinch. He just stared at the wound for more than 10 seconds. And finally, he shot upright and slammed the fish corpse into the freezer. He mechanically repeated the scooping motion until all the dead fish were removed. Only then did he look at you with cold eyes. Well now, you're quite something, aren't you? Aegea suddenly let out a cold laugh. The net handle banged against the glass with a thud. "I'll play with you to the very end." 2 hours later, Ajia was slumped in his office chair, staring at the black computer screen. In his mind, all he could see was your leisurely figure and his few precious fish that had died so tragically. His breathing quickened noticeably. It's just a carp, why could it push him to such a pathetic state? Could it be that worthless carp has actually become a monster? What do you mean, become a monster? He immediately cursed out loud. Although he said that, Ajia knew in his heart that this carp of yours was something he had never heard of or seen before. He had been raising predatory fish for 10 years. How could he have a meltdown because of a single carp? If word got out, would he have any face left? Ajia's gaze suddenly turned fierce. He suddenly slammed his fist on his own thigh. I must have lost my mind. He shot up, took out his phone, and quickly dialed a number. Old Joe, do you still have any red-bellied piranhas in your shop? Yes, I need adults. At least 10 of them. Oh, right, those few black ghost knife fish you have, are they still there? They are, right? Good, I'll take them all too. Send them all over to me together. After he hung up the phone, Ajia let out a breath, a cold smile playing on his lips. The fish in this tank of mine are too well fed. They can't catch you. So, when you're faced with apex predators, what will you do? At the end of the day, you're just a worthless carp. What kind of trouble could you possibly stir up? After Ajia left, you observed for a while, and seeing that there was indeed no movement, you finally dared to swim out a little. Provoking him like that today, it'd be strange if he didn't lose his cool. Later, he will definitely think of more ways to mess with you. But you aren't afraid either. He was clearly the one who wanted to use you as feed first. What's wrong with you getting rid of a few of his fish? Oh, right, I still haven't claimed today's survival reward. System, claim today's reward. Drawing today's survival reward. Congratulations, host, you have obtained auditory acuity plus 200%. The moment the system's voice faded, countless chaotic sounds flooded into your mind. You were instantly overjoyed. Talk about perfect timing. With such powerful hearing, the next time that streamer comes, you'll be able to eavesdrop on him. Your hearing, plus your previous sense of smell, combined with your intelligence, your survival ability will only multiply. This is all capital for your survival. Another night passed. You slowly moved your tail fin to maintain balance. You haven't had a proper meal in 48 hours. The walls of your intestines began to feel a burning pain. Although you provoked those fierce fish into killing each other, you never had a chance to eat a proper, full meal. Those guys go berserk the moment they smell blood. If you dared to join the fray, it would be pure suicide. Warning. The stomach lining is beginning to self-digest. Today, that streamer still didn't feed you. Your eyes darted around. Still not giving in, huh? Fine. Then today, I'll make you feel the pain again. Let's see when you'll finally submit. You slowly swam out, your gaze scanning the surroundings. Suddenly, your lateral line caught an unusual vibration. 2 golden dorados were fighting for territory in the driftwood area. This fierce fish, native to South America, is known for its aggressive nature. At this moment, their bulging foreheads were already crashing into each other. The scraping of their scales made a cringe-inducing sound. Your gill covers opened slightly. You noticed that the larger one had an injured left eye, a remnant from last night's free-for-all. A plan instantly formed clearly in your mind. Well now, here's my chance. You first swam towards the 3 platinum tigerfish. These predators from Africa were currently floating lazily, but you knew their ambush speed could reach several body lengths per second, equivalent to the explosive power of a human 100-meter champion. When you were only 20 centimeters from the nearest platinum tigerfish, you suddenly thrashed your body violently. This movement stirred up a dense stream of bubbles, and at the same time, alerted the 3 fierce fish. They instantly entered an attack state. But you've already darted under a passing giant catfish, perfectly concealing your form. This opening is enough for you to make your next move. You shoot like an arrow from a bow toward that golden dorado with the injured eye. At the moment of impact, you swerve sharply, your tail fin slapping hard against its injured left eye. The attacked dorado thrashes its head in fury, crashing right into the pursuing Peura. The 2 beasts immediately start tearing at each other, breaking a fragile antler-like branch on the driftwood as they tumble. The broken splinter of wood shoots past like a javelin, slicing open a gash on the dorado's belly. The scent of blood was like flipping a switch. The other golden dorado joins the fray. 3 predatory fish, about 40 centimeters long, fight to the death in the cramped space. Scales and slime make the water even murkier. The smell of blood in the fish tank is like an invisible net, enveloping every corner you're in. You swim slowly, your tail fin gently swaying to maintain your balance. Under your guidance, the fight between the golden dorado and the Peura continues. Broken scales drift in the water, and faint red threads of blood spread through it. Like an abstract painting, it's still not enough. You narrow your fish eyes, with only one thought in your mind. He has to feel a deeper sting. Today's chaotic battle was brutal, but for that streamer named Ajia, the loss isn't big enough. The ones that died were all small fish. Although that silver arowana is heavily injured, it's still hanging on by a thread. For the past few days, Ajia, for a change, hasn't caused any more trouble, but he also hasn't fed us for a single day. It's late at night again. You are suspended in the shadows between the rockery and the driftwood. Your golden pupils contract slightly. 7 days of a life and death struggle have made your scales exceptionally sensitive, able to clearly perceive the slightest changes in water temperature. Drawing today's survival reward, acquired. Water pressure sense, beginner. A stinging sensation, like an electric current, shoots through your nerves. Instantly, you see a map of the entire tank's water pressure distribution. The vortex created by the swimming arapaima, the sudden pressure shifts from the school of piranhas making a sharp turn. Even the subtle vibrations from the Florida alligator snapping turtle crawling across the bottom, it all forms a clear image in your mind. You gently swish your tail fin, testing this new ability. 20 centimeters away, every opening and closing of a payura's gill covers forms precise ripples in your perception. Combined with your enhanced hearing and sense of smell, you dare say that in this fish tank. When it comes to escaping, you are definitely number one. But just being good at running away isn't enough. System, show me my status panel. Current host, you, Lin Fan. Identity, carp. Constitution, 30, average. Strength, 15, weak. Agility, 20, weak. Talents, dying struggle, water pressure sense, enhanced smell, enhanced hearing. Your stats are a lot stronger than a week ago, but compared to the beasts in this tank, they're still far too weak. If it weren't for your wits, you probably wouldn't have survived this long. You swish your tail, hunger tears at your stomach like a hook. 3 meters to your right. 3 golden dorados are on patrol. The biggest one has a scar over its left eye. That was your masterpiece, you lured it into the rockwork 2 days ago. Glub, a trail of bubbles escapes your mouth. You've got your eyes locked on something at the bottom of the driftwood. Half a bloody fin. It sank there during the chaos of the fight 2 days ago. To reach it, you have to cross through the patrol zone of 2 platinum tigerfish. You start the routine you've spent 3 days perfecting. Observe, anticipate, and calculate. The moment everything clicks in your mind, you move. You're like a bolt of golden lightning. Before the first platinum tigerfish can even react, you've already snatched the scrap of food. But then, as you turn, your tail fin grazes the driftwood by mistake. A tiny vibration, but enough to wake the tiger shovelnose catfish resting behind the rocks. That monster snaps its jaws open. Its 6 whiskers lock onto you like radar. Worse still, the scent of blood has drawn those 3 golden dorados back. Your scales bristle instantly, but the fear only makes your mind sharper. You charge straight at the meanest one, the one-eyed dorado, and dive at the last possible second. The dorado's sharp turn kicks up a cloud of debris, blinding them. You slip into the shadows of some fake seaweed. You quickly dull your colors. As the massive catfish glides right over your head, you can feel its cold whiskers brush against your dorsal fin. After 3 minutes of life or death intensity, you finally make it back to the arapaima's territory. You chew your food cautiously. Then you notice something new on the tank floor. Strange scales with an eerie, blue-green glow. Newcomer, you push your sense of water pressure to the limit. There, in the shadows of the filter, you pick up a weird ripple. Something is moving in an irregular Z pattern. Its speed is erratic. Then, suddenly, a sharp sting of electricity shoots through your lateral line. You dart to the right by reflex. A second later, a faint blue flash sips through the spot where you were just floating. Through the murky water, you catch a glimpse of a long, translucent shape. A ghost knifefish, but along its spine, it's actually flickering with electricity. Your pupils narrow in shock. Damn it, when did that thing get put in here? You didn't even notice. Even fish need to sleep. It must have happened while you were blacked out. You mimic a piece of driftwood, drifting slowly with the current. You realize this mutated knifefish follows a pattern. After every shock, it needs to stay still for about 2 minutes to recharge. You memorize this weakness and notice a fresh wound on its belly. As moonlight filters through the curtains, you begin your nightly patrol. You glide along the glass, searching for any scrap of food. But it looks like AJ is hell-bent on starving you. You need a new food source, fast. Your eyes fall on the algae growing on the glass. You take a tiny nibble. The bitter taste makes you want to gag, but it helps the burning in your stomach. In the dead of night, you notice something interesting. That mutated knifefish is terrified of the arapaima. This discovery lets you change your survival strategy. If that knifefish starts sparking, staying near the arapaima is your safest bet. As the first light of dawn hits the tank, you've got a new scar on your tail fin. I got that while testing the knifefish's attack range, but it was worth it. Now, you know that bastard's maximum discharge distance is 3 meters, and it can't attack back to back. You gently brush against the belly scales of the arapaima, feeling the only bit of safety in these waters. Survival is tough, but with every passing day, you're getting stronger and a little smarter. Another day has gone by, yet your heart feels heavier. You're absolutely certain that ghost knifefish is an assassin sent by that streamer to take you out. That thing is unnervingly smart. It knows it can't beat the bigger predators in the tank, so its target has been locked onto you from the very start. Your scales twitch slightly, picking up the tiniest shifts in the water's electrical current. Danger assessment, high. Host survival rate has dropped to 41%. The system's warnings are constantly grating on your nerves. I'm afraid, this time, it's going to be rough. You slowly sink to the bottom of the tank, pressing your belly against the gravel covered in waste and rotting meat. This stench is just enough to perfectly mask your scent. You've noticed the knifefish has a fatal flaw in its attack. Every time before it discharges, its spine flashes blue 3 times. Just like a warning before pulling a trigger. 2 meters to the right, a cleaner fish is nibbling on some algae. You watch as the knifefish glides closer, silent as a ghost. The blue light on its spine flashes. BZZZT. A blinding blue flash strikes, and the cleaner fish instantly goes stiff. It floats up, belly side up. But what terrifies you is that the current is clearly stronger than last night. It's evolving, or maybe it wasn't even trying before. You quietly retreat toward the Arapima's territory. But today, this behemoth is unusually restless. As you get close, it suddenly whips its head around. Those cold eyes are locked onto you. Something's wrong. You stop immediately. This giant usually ignores you completely. But today, it's full of hostility. You slowly back away, while catching a strange chemical scent in the water, stinging your gills. Water analysis. Traces of anesthetic detected. That bastard drugged the water. Your scales stand on end instantly. That explains why the Arapima is so cranky. It also means Ajia wants to use drugs to slow everyone down. So his electric assassin can have an easier time. You quickly swim towards some decorative coral behind a patch of fake grass. Peering through the gaps, you see a horrifying change taking over the entire tank. The piranhas are wobbling, and the platinum tigerfish's speed is dropping. Even the snapping turtle's movements have become limp and weak. The only one unaffected is that ghost knife fish. What a complete psycho. You curse him under your breath. This drug. It's practically tailor-made for you. You force yourself into a semi-dormant state, slowing your heart rate and breathing to resist the effects as much as possible. BZZZT. The harsh sound of electricity crackles from the right. The ghost knife is systematically clearing every hiding spot. In 3 minutes, at most. It'll find you, but the anesthetic has left your muscles limp and useless. There's no way you can escape like you usually do. What do you do now? Suddenly, your eyes lock onto the heater 5 meters away. An incredibly bold idea forms in your head, giving it everything you've got. You poke your tail fin out from the coral hole and gently flick the water. You let a piece of withered seagrass drift toward the heater. Under the influence of the drugs, the ghost knife fish's judgment has definitely slipped. *ZZT. A flash of blue light and the knife fish lunges at that piece of seagrass, striking the heater with pinpoint accuracy. Boom, a muffled thud. The heater's fuse blows instantly. The electrical backlash sends the ghost knife fish into a violent convulsion. Floating belly up, the blue light along its spine flickers wildly. It's clearly badly hurt. You don't waste this once in a 1,000-year chance. Fighting through the dizziness, you swim toward the most hidden corner of the tank. A hollow ceramic ornament you found the day before yesterday. Just as you're about to reach it, a violent vibration ripples through the water. The Arapima has swum right over you without you even noticing. His massive body completely blocks your path. In those cold eyes of his, shines the predatory glint. You freeze right where you are. No way. Come on, big bro, Pima. Don't do this to me now. There's a giant beast ahead, and a recovering ghost knife fish behind. In this do or die moment, you suddenly notice a length of wire drifting near the ceramic. Its insulation is stripped. Bare copper wire quivers in the water. An even crazier thought flashes through your mind. Summoning your last bit of strength, you wrap your tail fin around the wire, slowly pushing it toward the still twitching ghost knife fish. The moment that copper wire touches its spine, a blinding blue light explodes. A massive surge of electricity rips through the entire tank. The Arapima thrashes in pain as he flees. And that wire, acting like a lightning rod, funnels most of the current into the metal frame. When everything calms down, the ghost knife fish has sunk to the bottom, its blue light fading. You take the chance to slip inside the ceramic. Your entire body is trembling. Ghost physique has reached its limit, triggering hidden mutation. Activating hidden talent, electricity resistance, level 1. You're stunned for a second, then let out a silent laugh in the darkness. Your scales tingle, residual current feels like 1,000 tiny needles prickling your skin. Through a crack in the ceramic, you see the ghost knife fish drifting in the water. The blue light on its spine flickers on and off. Electricity resistance integration in progress. Current progress, 23%. The new talent is rebuilding your body, making you more sensitive to electricity, but also far more resistant. Oh, the studio door opens. Ajia appears in front of the tank with heavy bags under his eyes. When he sees the floating knife fish and the scorched heater, his face turns pale with rage. How is this possible? His voice sounds muffled as it travels through the water. His lip twitches uncontrollably. You pull yourself even deeper into the ceramic. It's not time to be discovered yet. *BZZZT. A faint surge of electricity pulses through the water. The ghost knife fish is awake. It seems to have memorized your scent. It's coming for you, and it's not letting go. Warning, high-risk predator, the ghost knife fish, has entered your territory. Just as it swims to a specific spot, you suddenly slam your tail fin against the ceramic wall. Thump, the dull vibration startles the giant Arapima. It flicks its tail by reflex, and the resulting current pushes the heating rod fragment right toward the ghost knife fish. The knife fish instinctively discharges electricity to defend itself, causing a second short circuit. This time, the backlash of current leaves the knife fish completely limp, sinking like a piece of scrap cloth. to your surprise, as the residual current sweeps over you. The stinging sensation is noticeably weaker. Electrical resistance fusion progress, 51%. You cautiously swim out from your hiding place. The entire ecosystem of the fish tank has changed. Those once fierce predators are all huddling in the corners. This is the chance. Your stomach twists with a sharp hunger pang. You slowly swim toward the back of the filter, where a large amount of food scraps have piled up. On the way, as you pass the knife fish, you deliberately slow down. Testing your own electrical resistance. ZZZZT. A faint blue light flashes, but the agonizing pain you expected doesn't come. Instead, it feels like a tingly, numbing breeze. Warning: overexposure to high-voltage electricity is life-threatening. The system's warning brings you back to your senses. You quickly swim to the filter and begin to wolf down the food. The feeling of fullness brings a clarity you've never felt before. You look at that half-dead knife fish. Dangerous glint flickers in your eyes. The wound on its belly has already turned white with infection. It won't last 3 days. Maybe. It can be put to better use. You stir the water. You push the knife fish toward that broken wire, and then you suddenly accelerate, slamming your head hard into its spine. Zap! One last surge of electricity erupts. The ghost knife fish stops breathing entirely, its carcass perfectly wedged between the heating rod and the wire. It's done. Now, for the final move. You execute the last step of your plan. You bite down on the knife fish's tail fin. You drag it toward the golden Dorado's territory. The knife fish's body still carries a faint charge. It's enough to keep the giant arapaima from coming near. And the route you've chosen is exactly in the current's blind spot. All you're doing is getting someone else to do your dirty work. In this tank, the one who threatens you the most is that golden Dorado. You leave the carcass right at the Dorado's front door. Then you quickly retreat. Now, all that's left is to wait for Ajia to return and see that his golden Dorado killed his precious ghost knife fish. What will happen then? You hide back inside the ceramic. Digesting your hard-earned meal, the hunger finally eases up a lot. The surface of the water suddenly ripples violently. You keenly peer out from a crack in the rockery. Ajia pushes the door open and walks in, looking extremely hyped. Alright guys, today I'm gonna give you something to talk about. His voice is shriller than usual. You quietly swim closer to the glass. You see him setting up 3 cameras, his face flushed with a sickly, feverish red. At his feet is an insulated box covered in dangerous organism labels. Oh my god, Brother Gia is going big today. Knifey, you better run. Something huge is about to go down. You stare warily at that box. As Ajia lifts the lid just a crack, you immediately sense an abnormal surge of electricity. 3 purebred Amazon black demon fish. Ajia roars at the camera. It cost me a full 38,000. Each one has been professionally trained. They only attack specific targets. He opens the box. 3 strange fish, pitch black all over with serrated bone spikes on their dorsal fins, were swimming inside. Blue-purple electric light occasionally flashed from their spines. Holy crap, electric fish. Brother Gia really spared no expense. Scarface carp. Did he really have to go this far just to take me down? The bullet comments went crazy in an instant. Gia used a special insulated net to scoop up the first black demon fish. As soon as it left the water, it immediately began to struggle violently, letting out a crackling sound in the air. See that? 600 volts of high-voltage electricity. The muscles on Ajia's face twisted with excitement. Specially trained to only chase that damn carp and discharge electricity. He placed the black demon fish into the water. Alert. SS class threat detected. Species: Devil electric eel, lab mutated species. Attack method: targeted 600-volt electric shock plus bone blade bite. Traits: specially trained. Attack accuracy plus 70%. Your heart tightened. For a moment, you even wanted to give up resisting. But soon, you pulled yourself together. You want me to die? I won't let you. You discovered that this black demon fish was swimming in a very regular pattern, always maintaining a 3-meter distance from you, and was deliberately avoiding the other predatory fish. Watch closely, baby. Go. Gia suddenly pulled out a remote control and pressed the red button. Zap. A piercing blue electric arc shot out like a venomous snake. You reflexively hid behind the arapaima. The current grazed past your tail fin, hitting the gravel at the bottom of the tank and making it bubble up. Oh my god, it's a freaking remote-controlled fish. Brother Gia is using high-tech stuff. Brother Dao, this young man fights dirty. You were startled, too. Run. Let's see how long you can run, Gia sneered, as he placed the remaining 2 black demon fish into the water. The 3 electric assassins immediately formed a perfect encirclement, precisely discharging electricity at you. A platinum predatory fish accidentally swam into the attack range, and was immediately electrocuted until its whole body went rigid, floating to the surface belly up. Friendly fire. That was one of Brother Gia's precious fish. Gia's expression changed drastically. He hurriedly adjusted the remote control, cursing foully under his breath. I told you to aim better. You seized this moment of chaos and quickly swam near the heating rod. When one of the black demon fish discharged again, you fiercely slapped the water with your tail, directing the current to conduct along the metal heating rod. Zap. A dazzling electric spark flashed, and the backlashing current made all 3 black demon fish convulse violently at the same time. 66,666. Brother Dao used their own force against them. Brother Jia's face turned green, ha 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 ha. How the hell can a carp do something like that? Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. Jia frantically pressed the remote control, but the black demon fish had already been temporarily incapacitated. The live chat exploded over the story of how my high-tech fish was counter-attacked and killed by a koi. People are telling the streamer to switch to raising koi. Jia is shaking with rage. He suddenly turns and takes a small bottle from the cabinet, one with a "strictly prohibited" label on it. So you're forcing me to use my ultimate move, huh? He uses a syringe to draw a few milliliters of a clear liquid. He drips it into the water. It's a specially developed fish stimulant. It will only double the black devil fish's activity. Jia Ge is playing dirty. You immediately notice something is wrong. The 3 black devil fish have stopped twitching. The movement of their gills has noticeably quickened. The electric glow along their spines has changed from pale blue to a blinding violet white. Their discharge frequency, which was originally once every 5 seconds, has shortened to less than 2 seconds. Zap, 2 bolts of electricity shoot out almost at the same time. You narrowly avoid the first one, but the second one grazes your dorsal fin. A sharp pain shoots through you. But to your surprise, you find that the damage this time is much less than you expected. Electrical resistance express plus 15%. Current electrical resistance has been fully integrated. You've just started to feel a glimmer of pride in your progress. But then, something even worse happens. Stimulated by the drug, the black devil fish completely lose control and start attacking indiscriminately. 1 bolt of electricity flies straight and true, hitting the silver arowana that's worth over 10,000. It shocks it so hard that it leaps right out of the water. Stop. Jia rushes to the tank in a panic, banging helplessly on the glass. The more than 3,000 viewers in the live stream are stunned. The chat immediately explodes. He totally lost control, ha ha ha. Jia Ge's babies are about to get team wiped. Oh my god, this has got to hurt. Quick, 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 do something. Zap. Electricity arcs wildly through the water. The massive bodies of the black devil fish thrash around frantically. The entire tank is on the verge of chaos. You flick your tail, trying to get out of the way. But in such a small space, there's nowhere to run from the attacks of the frenzied fish. You become even more certain that these things are a product of technology. Before long, every creature in the predator tank begins to rampage. Agitated and crazed, Jia is in a total panic. He's at a loss, shouting for someone to help him get those black devil fish out of there. However, you notice something. The electrical discharges from the black devil fish seem to be getting weaker. They're running out of energy. This is a golden opportunity. If you don't take care of them now, once the entire tank goes nuts, you'll be the first to go down. Finally, you spot an opening. Sensing the subtle shifts in the water, you take a deep breath. With your electrical resistance and your current physique, you should be able to take it, right? It should be fine, no time to worry about it now. Crackle, a blinding flash of electricity instantly engulfs you. Every viewer watches, stunned, as you, a simple koi, actually swim against the current. Charging straight through the blue arcs of electricity. But what's even more shocking is, most of the electricity is channeled through you into the water, and your speed, instead of slowing, increases explosively. You use the electrical current as a booster, moving at an incredible speed. And slam headfirst into the most fragile part of a black devilfish, its gills. The out-of-control killer is instantly sent tumbling like a kite with a broken string, spinning as it sank to the bottom of the tank. The live chat went absolutely insane. This is possible? Blade Bro must be using a cheat. Oh my god, Emperor Blade has been reincarnated for his second life. What's wrong with cultivating the indestructible lightning body? On the other side, Jia had completely broken down. He fumbled around, trying to use a fish net to scoop out the fish. But he accidentally touched the trap he'd set himself and was electrocuted, screaming loudly. The remote control in his hand fell into the fish tank with a splash. Funniest live stream of the year. The streamer got schooled by his own fish. Donations instantly flooded the screen. Meanwhile, inside the tank, you didn't rest for a moment. Kick them while they're down. You swam against the current, pushing through the faint electric shock, knocking over the remaining few black devilfish one by one. At the same time, the other predatory fish in the tank that had recovered also showed a vicious glint in their eyes. The alligator gar was the first to charge, its flat, sharp teeth tearing viciously. Instantly, a scarlet mist of blood spread through the water. Right after, the piranha, red-tailed catfish, and giant tarpon all swarmed forward, devouring those few black devilfish on the spot. Even the alligator snapping turtle in the corner poked its head out to take a vicious bite. Splash! A huge wave suddenly erupted in the tank. The Arapima's massive body descended like a titan. Almost no one could see its movement clearly. They only saw an undercurrent surge, and half a black devilfish corpse vanished on the spot. When the last black devilfish floated to the surface belly up, the entire livestream erupted. But Jia sat paralyzed on the floor, his eyes lifelessly staring at the devastated fish tank. His favorite silver arowana had half its scales zapped off, and the red-tailed catfish was cowering in a corner, trembling. If he had known this would be the result, if he were given another chance, he absolutely would not have put those things in there. These were his precious babies. Jia's heart was bleeding. The smell of blood in the tank hadn't dissipated yet. You floated quietly at the filter outlet, feeling the soothing flow of the water. Your enhanced hearing could pick up everything in the studio, Jia's heavy breathing, the vibration of the phone, and the hum of the air conditioner. Live chat was still scrolling like crazy. Oh my god, Blade Bro really took down the black devilfish. Is this damn thing a carp? This is the god of war among fish. Brother Jia's face has turned green. Ha ha ha. Jia sat there stunned, like a wooden puppet. His gaze moved from the dead fish to the injured fish, and finally, it landed on you. His lips trembled, but he couldn't get a single word out. Suddenly, he reached out and turned off the live stream. The studio was instantly plunged into dead silence. You warily watched his every move. Jia slowly stood up, walking unsteadily towards the food cabinet. He finally picked up a can of high-grade koi food he had never used before. You must be hungry, too. His voice was as soft as a mosquito's buzz. He tremblingly tore open the seal. He took out a spoonful, but stopped abruptly before feeding you. This action made you instinctively back away, your tail fin taking a defensive stance. I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to. Jia snatched his hand back as if he'd been burned, his eyes suddenly turning red. He slowly crouched down and gently sprinkled the food in an area away from the other fish. You noticed that this once arrogant and domineering streamer was now moving as gently as a novice. What the hell was he up to? A change of heart? Your guard was up completely. Your whole body was tense, but the scent of that premium food was just too tempting. You swam over cautiously, keeping enough distance to retreat at a moment's notice. Jia just knelt quietly in front of the tank, watching you eat. When the slightest movement startled you into darting away, his shoulders visibly slumped. Go on, eat, he sighed. Brother Dao, isn't it? I give up. Those words made you relax just a little. You hid behind the driftwood, watching him through a gap. This streamer seems so unfamiliar now. He was gently dabbing medicine on the silver arowana's injured scales with a cotton swab. His movements were like he was caring for a newborn. As the sky grew dark, he didn't start his stream. Instead, he pulled up a chair and sat in front of the tank. He opened his phone and started looking through recordings of his previous streams. On the screen was his own twisted expression as he yelled at the camera that he was going to kill you. He suddenly shut off the video and gave a self-deprecating laugh. His shoulders trembled slightly. Something wet glistened between his fingers. You realized with a shock that this once insufferably arrogant guy was actually crying in front of your tank. The night grew deeper. He finally got up and tapped gently on the glass. It wasn't the usual heavy, provocative bang, but 3 soft taps, like knocking on a door. Good night. See you tomorrow. Only after the studio door closed did you finally, completely relax. You swam slowly to the surface, nibbling at the leftover food. What was this? A truce? For a moment, you had no idea how to react. Ever since you were thrown into this tank, you hadn't had a single good day. And now, to be treated like this all of a sudden. What did all that fighting for your life even mean? Blub, you let out a stream of bubbles and decided not to think about it anymore. After all, being alive is a good thing. This was the first time since coming to this tank that you were able to rest peacefully. In a daze, you felt as if you'd returned to your past life, back when you weren't a fish. The soft sound of a door opening startled you awake. The sky was just beginning to lighten. Jia tiptoed in, with heavy dark circles under his eyes. But in his hands, he was carrying 2 pieces of brand new aquarium equipment. Morning. His voice was hoarse, but surprisingly gentle. He carefully installed a new sterilizing lamp, as if afraid of disturbing any of you. Detecting water purification in progress. Harmful bacteria population reduced by 40%. The system's alert made you swim to the front of the glass. Seeing this, Jia immediately stopped what he was doing. He pulled a sealed bag from his pocket. Inside were fresh corn kernels. You must have been starving these past few days, huh, Brother Dao? He said softly, slowly sprinkling the corn kernels into the water. You should like this more. The sweet aroma instantly stimulates your sense of smell. You tentatively swim closer, noticing that he immediately takes 2 steps back. He's even holding his breath. Forget it. Why be polite when there's food? You suck the corn kernels into your mouth, one by one. I've gotta say, this texture is so much better than that fish food and raw meat. Seeing you start to enjoy it, Jia finally breathes a sigh of relief. The corners of his mouth tilt up unconsciously. As the sun rises, Jia starts his live stream. In front of the camera, he looks like a completely different person. His hair is perfectly combed, and he's changed into a clean t-shirt. Good morning, everyone. It's a cold day. We're not doing any of those flashy, gimmicky things anymore. The chat room instantly explodes. Oh my god, has Brother Jia been possessed? This gentle tone is scaring me. Is Brother Blade okay? Let me see Brother Blade. Jia doesn't ignore the comments. Instead, he explains softly, yesterday. I thought about it a lot. Keeping fish shouldn't be like this. He points at the injured silver arowanas. Look at them. Look at what I've put them through. He pauses. His voice is full of realization. I understand now. I'm honestly impressed. To be able to survive in my predator tank. It shows what this carp is made of. From today on, I won't interfere anymore, however long it lives. It's all up to its own strength. The chat goes quiet for a few seconds. Then, the comments explode. I'm crying. I'm actually crying. This is the fish-keeping blogger I originally followed. Brother Gia has finally grown up. As your silhouette swims across the camera, Gia can't help but smile slightly. This carp, Scarface Carp, Brother Blade. I'm truly impressed. This nickname makes the chat explode again. You heard Gia's words too, and your heart feels a bit complicated. The hatred, the resentment. In the end, this world is just a place where the strong prey on the weak. Everyone was just doing what they had to do. You flick your tail, slowly swimming to the front of the camera to meet his gaze. Brother Blade is so cool. That metallic shine on his scales is incredible. Brother Blade is the GOAT. A wave of donations floods the live stream. In the afternoon, Gia did something that shocked all the viewers. He removed all the traps and devices from the tank. From now on, he solemnly announces to the camera, this tank will only have a natural ecosystem. As for the Scarface Carp, I won't interfere with it anymore. If it lives for decades, I'll take care of it for decades. As he throws the last electronic trap into the trash, the entire chat is flooded with, Brother Gia is reborn. When night falls, Gia stays in front of the tank for an extra hour. He gives every fish an official name. He looks at you, smiles, and says, your name will be Scar Carp. That's what the netizens affectionately call you. The fierce fish in the tank also have new names, Little Yellow, Old Yellow, Little Bone, Big Bone, and Amao. However, the murky water in the fish tank churned up a cloud of gravel. You quickly swerved your tail to avoid it. Your enhanced lateral line allowed you to sense a school of piranhas forming an encirclement 3 meters away. Today's survival reward, muscle burst power plus 3%. The moment the system notification flashed, you had already darted into a rock crevice. That 3% increase was minuscule, yet it was just enough to save your life. The massive figure of Old Bone, the Arapaima, swept past from above. Temporarily scattering the predators, you seized the opportunity to swim toward the safe zone. Your gills opened and closed rapidly. Even with Old Bone's protection, every search for food was like dancing on the edge of a knife. The streamer, Gia, was no longer targeting you. But this was, after all, a tank of fierce fish from the Amazon rainforest. A whole tank of apex predators. Less human intervention, on the contrary, meant the most primitive law of survival. You were too weak, and your body was too small. If you were targeted, your life would still be in danger. Splash. The water's surface rippled. It was Gia, feeding corn kernels. He deliberately scattered them far away from where the fierce fish gathered. You waited until the other fish were attracted by the live bait before cautiously approaching. You quickly swallowed 3 kernels and immediately retreated to Old Bone's guarded territory. Lingering here for even 1 extra second could be fatal. Nutrition intake analysis, protein deficient. The system's warning made you look behind the filter. There was a pile of leftover shrimp meat. But 3 platinum wolf fish were on patrol. The window of opportunity was only 2.3 seconds. Old Bone suddenly slapped the water with its tail fin, startling the wolffish. You didn't waste the chance he created, shooting forward like an arrow. You snatched the largest piece of shrimp and quickly retreated. The whole process took less than 1.5 seconds. But it had already caught the attention of the alligator snapping turtle. That old hunter, its shell covered in algae, slowly turned around. Its murky eyes locked onto you. You immediately executed your emergency plan, swimming in irregular patterns around the heating rod. The alligator snapping turtle's straight line burst speed is astonishing, but turning is its critical weakness. After 3 sharp turns, it slammed heavily into the tank wall, while you had already returned to Old Bone's protective circle. After night fell, the danger multiplied. The nocturnal electric eel began to stir. You hovered quietly in the shadow beneath Old Bone's belly, your scales trembling slightly, absorbing the trace amounts of electric current diffusing through the water. Conducting your charging training. Early morning, a sudden change occurred. The school of piranhas suddenly rushed madly toward a corner of the tank, tearing at a rotten fish fin. It was emitting a strange, sweet, and fishy smell. It was the medicated cotton Gia had dropped when cleaning the filter yesterday. Some kind of stimulant was spreading rapidly. Damn it, you instantly gritted your teeth. How could my luck be this bad? Old Bone suddenly jerked its head up, its silver-gray scales flaring out. This was a signal of extreme danger. You instinctively rushed toward your pre-selected shelter, the corner between the heating rod and the glass. Bam! The impact from the red-tailed catfish made the entire fish tank tremble. The frenzied school of piranhas began to attack indiscriminately. A mist of blood instantly filled the water. ZZZT. The electric eel's sudden discharge interrupted the massacre. But it also hit Old Bones. The old monster thrashed around in agony, smashing the decorative coral. Your shelter was completely destroyed. 3 frenzied golden dorados are charging right at you. You've got to be kidding me. Are you guys trying to get me? There was no time to think. You swam toward the strongest part of the current, using the jolt of electricity to charge at top speed toward the filter intake. This passage, less than 10 centimeters in diameter, was the only way out. The metal pipe scraped against you, stinging painfully. You couldn't afford to care about that. Through the crack, you saw the bloody massacre outside. The alligator snapping turtle had clamped down on the electric eel. Old Bones sent a dorado flying, while Gia was frantically banging on the tank. After a long time, the slaughter finally stopped. You swam cautiously out of the pipe. Before you lay the bodies of 2 piranhas. The electric eel was torn in two, and a large chunk was missing from Old Bone's tail fin. And the survivors had once again returned to a state of calm. As if the frenzy from moments ago had never happened, Jia was squatting in front of the tank, scooping up the body of the 28,000 yuan platinum Peura, the corner of his mouth twitching slightly. He muttered a curse, tossing the dead fish into the trash can. A stream of comforting messages flew across the screen, but he suddenly burst out laughing. Guys, seriously? I should have gotten used to this by now. He turned and pulled 3 sealed bags from a cooler. Take a look at this. I've had new contenders ready for a while now. Inside the bags were 3 monsters you'd never seen before. One was pitch black with no eyes. An African blind spiny eel that navigates by electromagnetic fields. An Indonesian flame scorpionfish covered in venomous spines. And a deep-sea fluorescent weaselfish that can secrete hallucinogenic mucus. It's over, Brother Blade is done for. Where the hell did Brother Gia get this stuff? I thought you promised you wouldn't target Brother Blade? I'm not targeting him. But the host never said he wouldn't keep running the Predator tank. You all want to see it, right? Gia said, rubbing his hands together. Suddenly, he dragged out an even bigger container from behind him. Just kidding, the real trump card is in here. Coiled inside the insulated box was a creature that made all the on-screen comments freeze instantly. The body of a snake, the scales of a crocodile, the head of a catfish, and a pair of bulging, evil, red eyes, the Venezuelan vampire eel. Gia's voice cracked with excitement. Academics call it the Dracula eel. It can suck its prey into a dried-up husk while it's still alive. He pointed to some newly installed equipment. Don't worry, this thing's only interested in targets under 30 centimeters. It won't touch my big darlings. That sentence made your heart clench violently. If you could speak, you'd really want to let out a stream of curses at his entire family. Interesting. Gia narrowed his eyes, noticing you were acting strange. Looks like Brother Blade recognizes his natural enemy. The moment the vampire eel entered the water, every fish in the tank flinched simultaneously. It floated like a piece of driftwood, only its red eyes moved, constantly scanning. Finally, they locked onto you. Warning, SSS class threat detected. Species, vampire eel, Hemophagus Dracula. Host survival rate calculated at 19%. The system's alarm exploded in your mind. G hadn't even finished speaking. The vampire eel suddenly shot out at an incredible speed, biting down on the blind spiny loach in the isolation box. The next scene left the live stream room dead silent. The eel's snout peeled back, revealing an inner circle of 7 rows of fine, hook-shaped teeth that precisely pierced the blind spiny loach's gill cover. In just 10 seconds, the live fish turned into a dried-up husk. Oh my god, the notebook in G's hand fell to the floor with a clatter. The vampire eel released its prey and slowly turned towards the camera outside the glass. Streaks of blood still hung from the corners of its mouth, its red eyes glittering with a strange sense of satisfaction. As if it were asking, who's next? That guy, G, was staring at the dead fish on the water's surface. Completely dumbfounded, but you knew very well this wasn't over. And sure enough, the next second, G slammed his hand on the table. He forced a twisted smile onto his face. Don't worry, guys, this is just getting started. G, might lack a lot of things, but I've never been short on fish, he roared at the camera. Let me open your eyes and show you a real Amazon top predator. After saying that, he turned and walked away. Immediately after, the sound of heavy footsteps approached. G and a few burly men carried in a huge water tank, slamming it on the ground with a loud thud. He excitedly lifted the lid. At that moment, every scale on your body bristled. Inside the tank were 3 strange, dark brown fish. Their bodies were shaped like torpedoes, and their backs were covered with sawtoothed bone plates. What made your scalp tingle the most were their completely transparent eyeballs. Like 2 glass beads embedded in their heads, devoid of any emotion. Giant-jawed hatchetfish, G's voice cracked. The locals call them meat slicers. He picked one up with a pair of forceps. The monster suddenly opened its massive mouth, exposing 4 fangs over 3 centimeters long to the air. You could even see the tiny barbs on the tips of the teeth. Good heavens, look at those teeth. Brother Dao is going to be skewered. What the hell is that thing? A freshwater fish. The live comments scrolled wildly. Every word G said was like an ice pick stabbing into your brain. You had 10,000 curses in your heart, all repeating the same meaning. You're just trying to kill me. Species analysis. Giant-jawed hatchetfish. Method of attack. High-speed dash plus piercing and tearing bite. Characteristics. Specializes in attacking the prey's eyes and gills. Threat level. SS. The system's alarm went off frantically in your mind. Its sound so shrill it felt like it would tear your consciousness apart. Just then, the first hatchetfish entered the water. The entire fish tank seemed to hit the pause button. All the fish stopped moving. Even the Florida snapping turtle pulled its head into its shell. The 40-centimeter-long killer floated in the water, its transparent eyeballs rotating eerily, scanning the area like a radar. You know what the craziest part is? G tapped on the tank wall. The hatchetfish instantly turned into a black shadow, its fangs scraping against the glass with a piercing shriek. Sprint speed, 30 kilometers per hour. The Ferrari of freshwater fish. The second hatchetfish was even bigger. The moment it entered the tank, Its glass bead-like eyes locked onto the healing Arapaima, your old big bro. For the first time, Old Bone showed a look of dread. Its massive body actually began to slowly back away. Folks, pay attention. Aegea excitedly adjusts the camera. The third one was a wild-caught behemoth, 58 centimeters long. It said that. His words suddenly caught in his throat. Because, when the third hatchetfish entered the water, a sight that would send chills down your spine occurred. The three killers actually began to coordinate with each other. With you at the center, they began to circle slowly, forming a perfect encirclement. Their dorsal fins twitched rhythmically, as if communicating in some kind of code. A three-man cell tactic of the fish world. My god, these three are like three lone wolves. Brother Blade, you better write your will. Aegea was also stunned. This wasn't part of the plan. You feel the blood in your veins turning to ice. Encirclement formation rate, 92%. Survival probability. Calculating. You subconsciously look towards Old Bone, only to find it's also stunned by the situation, not knowing what to do. It can only swim about uneasily. The circle is getting smaller and smaller. You notice their positioning is extremely cunning. No matter which direction you try to break out, at least two of them can charge at you simultaneously. Suddenly, the hatchetfish on the left gives a sharp twitch of its dorsal fin. Now is the moment. The two on the right simultaneously open their massive jaws and lunge at you. At the moment of life and death, you dive down sharply. Your enhanced muscles erupt with astonishing power, allowing you to narrowly slip through the gap between the two hatchetfish's fangs. However, the third one had been waiting for this moment. It charges towards you head-on like a cannonball. Clang, loud noise like colliding metal. You feel a sharp, tearing pain in your side. The hatchetfish's fangs scrape across your scales, then slice into the unlucky fellow behind you, leaving two wounds so deep you can see the bone. My god, those teeth are like scalpels. But Brother Blade's scales are pretty tough, too. The hunt has begun. You're gasping for breath. The trickles of blood from the wound instantly provoke the three monsters. Their eyes begin to fill with blood, turning scarlet red. Pheromone release detected. Kin summoning behavior. Recommendation. Disrupt cooperation immediately. You must break up their teamwork. But how? In the nick of time, an idea flashes through your mind. No matter how smart a fish is, it's still an animal, and it has greed. You suddenly change direction, not to escape, but towards the feeding area. With a powerful flick of your tail fin, you stir up all the shrimp fragments settled at the bottom of the tank. Brother Blade has given up the fight. A final meal before the end. The next second, a scene that made everyone's jaw drop occurred. The three hatchetfish simultaneously stopped their pursuit. Drawn by the cloud of shrimp meat, they wanted to snatch the food. They don't want to let you go, yet they've actually started threatening each other with their fangs. Right after that, the smallest one couldn't hold back any longer. It whipped its head around and bit down hard on its companion's dorsal fin. Infighting, Aegea cried out in shock. Brother Knife is a master of psychology. Oh my god, this brain of Brother Knife's, he's practically a spirit. You didn't waste this precious chance, swimming like a bolt of lightning toward the heating rod where the current was strongest. But that largest hatchetfish king quickly broke free from the struggle. Turning into a streak of bloody lightning once more, it came hunting after you. Its fangs pointed straight for your eyeball. It's over. Just then, a massive silver-gray wall crashed down in front of you. It was Old Bone, using his own enormous body. He took that fatal blow for you. The hatchetfish's fangs sank deep into his caudal fin, but they were also jammed tight by his thick scales. You were stunned. Big brother, you really are my true big brother. The chance is right now. Using every ounce of your strength, you slammed violently into the stuck hatchetfish. The terrifying impact pinned it directly against the scalding heating rod. Sizzle. The monster struggled frantically, but by the time it broke free, it had completely lost its balance. The snapping turtle, which had been waiting nearby for a long time, bit its head clean off. Seeing this, the remaining two hatchetfish actually stopped their attack and slowly retreated to the corner of the tank. For the first time, an emotion called fear flickered in their eyes. The battle was over. Aegea was dazed. All 4,000 plus people in the livestream were also stunned. After 2 seconds of silence in the chat, it completely exploded. Give it a rest, Brother Gia. This is the one you chose, idol. Please, just get Brother Knife a different tank, I'm begging you. Brother Knife is a beast. Voice cracks. Incredible. Oh my god. Who dares to say Scar Carp is just an ordinary carp now? You swam over to Old Bone's side. Looking at his bleeding fin, your heart was filled with a mix of emotions. Heavens, you originally just wanted to find a protector. To use this big lug. But why did he actually start seeing you as a brother? Aegea squatted in front of the aquarium, tapping the glass gently with his finger, his gaze scanning back and forth between you and the corner, where the two trembling hatchetfish were. Suddenly, he grinned. That smile felt colder to you than the hatchetfish's fangs. Listen up, everyone. I've realized something. Brother Gia is about to pull another stunt. Brother Knife, stop talking, I'm scared. When Brother Gia smiles, fate becomes unpredictable. Look at Brother Knife. Aegea's tone suddenly became like a scientist's. This size, this luster of the scales, and most importantly, the genes that allow him to survive in this environment and grow even stronger. He suddenly slapped his thigh. I'm going to find Brother Knife a wife and breed a new generation of super carp. You almost choked on a mouthful of water. Are you kidding me? So now you're worrying about my love life? Look at yourself. Do you even have a girlfriend? Even though you're a fish right now, your soul is still human. Facing a bunch of female carp? Please, spare me. Just kidding. Ah, Gia laughed sheepishly as he put down the fishing net he had just grabbed. He then pulled out an underwater endoscope. Let's be more scientific about this. We'll use this. Watching that black probe slowly descend into the water. Your scales stood on end instantly. You scrambled to hide behind the driftwood. You stared warily at the approaching camera. Don't be shy, Blade Bro. Old Bones suddenly flicked his tail, and a massive surge of water slapped the camera right onto the snapping turtle's face. The livestream was instantly filled with a giant close-up of the turtle's nostrils. Ha 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 ha. Seriously, turtle? Where are your manners? Ah, Gia quietly packed away his gear. Alright, fine. Change of plans. He pulled up a fish encyclopedia on the computer. The cursor finally stopped on one specific image. This one's perfect. German mirror carp. Hardly any scales. Strong disease resistance. It's a perfect match. No to arranged marriages. Blade Bro deserves the freedom to love. What do you guys know? Ah, Gia was completely lost in his own little world. Think about it. If the breeding is successful, wouldn't the fry have combat experience from the moment they're born? Watching Ah Gia drag a dusty incubation box out from the corner. You felt a cold shiver run from your tail fin straight to the top of your head. A German mirror carp? Mirror carp, my ass. This is the one. Ah Gia shouted. Ah Gia slapped his thigh and immediately started messaging a seller on his phone. No, I have to save myself. There's no way I can count on this hot-headed streamer. You circled the tank anxiously. Your gaze swept over the equipment in the tank, the heater, the filter, the UV sterilizer. Wait, a flash of inspiration hit you. Doesn't the streamer care most about his channel's stats? If something goes wrong, he won't have time to worry about breeding. Right, that's what I'll do. You locked onto a target. The heater, and then you found a coral fragment at the bottom that had been knocked off earlier. A plan formed instantly. You carefully picked up the fragment in your mouth, making sure to stay out of the other fish's sight. You quietly swam toward the heater. Meanwhile, Ah Gia was still bragging to the viewers about the future Blade clan. Warning, surface temperature rising. Warning, detecting weak electrical fluctuations. It's that vampire eel. It was right nearby. Your heart started pounding wildly. But you didn't stop. Suddenly, you accelerated, just before your body touched the scalding heater. You flicked your tail with surgical precision. Click, the coral fragment was caught in the current and wedged perfectly into the gap between the heater and the glass. Done. You zoomed back to Old Bones' side. You nudged him, acting like nothing had happened, though your heart was racing like crazy. Now, you just had to wait for this little wrench in the works to do its job. However, life is unpredictable. Alright, guys. Ah Gia suddenly stood up excitedly. Good news. I've already contacted a breeding farm in the Czech Republic. I've reserved the most beautiful German mirror carp. By air freight. She'll be here next week. What? You felt as if you'd been struck by lightning, almost losing your balance. The Czech Republic. Air freight. Arriving next week. All your little schemes. Before they even had a chance to work, the bride was already on a plane. This has gotten way out of hand. Detecting a slight change in environmental factors. The host's actions have triggered an unknown chain reaction. Please be cautious. The system's prompt rang out coldly, as if mocking your useless efforts. You looked at the heating rod that was still working away silently. Then you glanced at the Dracula vampire eel in the corner. Its red eyes, like searchlights from hell, slowly opened. You suddenly understood. It seems a gentle resistance is useless. If I want to live, if I want to escape this arranged destiny, perhaps I have to muddy these waters even more. You looked at the heating rod, still silently giving off heat, then shot a wary glance at the eel in the corner, who had just finished its snack. The vampire eel was lazily digesting, its wicked red eyes half open. They gave off an air of danger that comes after a full meal. God damn it, you cursed inwardly. Gentle resistance is completely useless. It looks like I have to muddy these waters even more. The murkier, the better. So murky that this damn streamer won't have time to think about some bullshit breeding plan. At the same time, Ah Gia was happily holding his phone. He was bragging to his livestream audience, spit flying everywhere. Guys, let me tell you, my buddy in the Czech Republic is super reliable. He sent the photos. She's a real stunner, well-proportioned body, and most importantly, she has a gentle temperament. A perfect match for our brother Dao. He even showed a picture of the German mirror carp to the livestream. Under the professional lighting, the fish really did look exceptional. Look at this belly. You can tell she'll be great for breeding. Ah Gia pointed at the screen, cackling. When the time comes, I'll set up a little love nest for them. No, wait, a maternity ward. The water plants have to be laid thicker. Raise the temp by 2 degrees. Hey, what would be good for the fry's first food? Brother Gia, are you serious? Isn't Brother Dao still a juvenile? Fast forward to the divorce battle. I don't know, I feel like Brother Dao is kind of freaking out. He looks like he's shaking. To the person who just commented, how can a fish shake? You're seeing things. No, really, look. Brother Dao keeps hiding behind Old Bones. The bullet comments on the stream alerted a few people. They seemed to have noticed your unease. And you were, in fact, uneasy. Agitated, even. You pressed yourself tightly against Old Bones' huge body. But even his cold scales couldn't seem to soothe the panic inside you. I have to do something. Right now, immediately. Your gaze sweeps quickly across the fish tank. The vampire eel has just eaten. It doesn't want to move for now. Those two giant-jawed hatchet fishes are still cowering in the corner. Still shaken, the alligator snapping turtle. Relying on it is worse than hoping a G has a change of heart. Wait a minute. Your gaze instantly locks onto the two surviving giant-jawed hatchet fishes. These two fish were just left in a sorry state by you and Old Bones working together. They must be furious. If I can provoke them into attacking a stronger target. For example, that vampire eel that's dozing off. The moment this idea appeared, it was like crazily growing aquatic plants. Instantly taking over your entire mind. The risk is huge, but the reward is just as great. Once these two top predators start fighting, the chaos it would cause would definitely drive a G crazy. Let's do it. You take a deep gulp of water and fiercely flick your tail, kicking up a strong undercurrent while precisely scooping up a few grains of sand and bits of aquatic plants with your tail fin, using the force of the current to send them towards the shadow of the driftwood. This move was extremely fast, and the motion wasn't large. In the chaotic fish tank, it was hardly noticeable. But for the vampire eel in the driftwood, this sudden disturbance was nothing less than a provocation. Those half-closed red eyes snapped open, glinting with the fury of being disturbed. Almost at the same time, those two giant-jawed hatchet fishes, which had been on high alert, were also drawn by the commotion over here. They saw the vampire eel's movement and also saw the debris being washed over by the current. They seemed to have misinterpreted the signal. Perhaps the previous battle had made them extremely sensitive. One of them, a slightly larger hatchetfish, suddenly raised its dorsal fin, like an arrow released from a bow, with a sharp sound of breaking water. It shot straight towards the vampire eel that had just raised its head. Oh my god, Aji's daydream was shattered by this sudden turn of events. A cringe-inducing ripping sound was heard. The hatchetfish's fangs left a shallow white mark on the vampire eel's slimy body. This undoubtedly enraged this predator from hell. The vampire eel let out a low growl and lunged back at the hatchetfish from an unbelievable angle. And the other hatchetfish, seeing its companion make a move, immediately closed in from the flank. In an instant, the water in the center of the tank began to boil with chaos. The vampire eel versus the two giant-jawed hatchetfishes. The three top predators crazily bit, rammed, and tumbled with each other. Water splashed everywhere. Tiny scales and bits of torn tissue constantly drifted in the water. The driftwood was knocked out of place, and the sand at the bottom was stirred into a cloudy mess. Holy crap, stop. All of you, stop right now. Aji completely lost it. He threw down his phone and rushed to the front of the tank. He wanted to use a net to separate them, but looking at the three bloodthirsty monsters inside, he didn't dare to make a move. The live stream completely exploded. Oh my god, the vampire versus the axe gang. Brother Gia, don't just stand there. Your fish are gonna be gone. Quick, turn off the lights. Hurry up and try turning off the lights. I have a feeling it was Brother Dao who did it. Didn't it just flick its tail a moment ago? Person above, don't talk nonsense. Brother Dao is so kind-hearted. How could a war have broken out at the bottom of the tank? You press yourself tightly against the old bone, feeling the violent vibrations and chaotic currents from above. Your heart is pounding wildly, but not out of fear. It's because of excitement and tension. It worked. This murky water, is it murky enough? You watch the helpless Ajia, watch the three fierce fish tearing each other apart. You watch the live stream room descend into utter chaos. The German mirror carp, the breeding program, now. Who could possibly care about that? Warning. Ecological balance within the tank severely disrupted. Conflict between hostile organisms has escalated. Unknown risks are increasing dramatically. The system's alarm sounds again. But this time, you can hear a hint of something else in it. The sound of liberation. First, I have to survive. Everything else can go to hell. In the center of the tank, the battle has reached a fever pitch. The vampire eel's body is incredibly slick, constantly writhing to evade the hatchetfish's head-on assaults. But the two hatchetfish are displaying astonishing teamwork. One leads the attack, while the other flanks, looking for an opening. One of the hatchetfish spots a chance, and suddenly accelerates, its sharp fangs grazing the vampire eel's body once more. A few mucus-coated scales drift down. The excruciating pain completely unleashes the vampire eel's savagery. It violently opens the sucker-like maw hidden beneath its folded skin. The edge of its mouth is lined with fine, sharp barbs. Like a blossoming flower from hell, it strikes at the attacking hatchetfish like a bolt of lightning. The hatchetfish twists violently, but it's a split second too late. The vampire eel's mouth scrapes viciously across its flank, leaving a distinct line of bloody marks. Thud, the other hatchetfish seizes the opportunity to slam hard into the vampire eel's midsection. The three fish, like three high-speed spinning tops, turn the entire tank into a cauldron of boiling slurry. Stop it. I said stop, all of you. Ajia is sweating bullets, his hand gripping the net is trembling. He can only let out roars of helpless rage. And just then, He seems to have finally spotted the suggestion in the live comments to turn off the lights. Right, turn off the lights. He lunges for it like a drowning man for a lifeline. He spins around abruptly and rushes toward the switch on the wall. Click, the overhead light extinguishes instantly. The only light left in the studio is the faint glow from the screens. The tank is plunged into darkness. The violent sounds of impact and tearing flesh stop abruptly. The world, it's as if someone hit the pause button. In the darkness, all that's left is the hum of the filter pump. And the sound of your own powerful heartbeat. You struggle to open your eyes wide. But your vision is filled with nothing but blurry outlines. Those three, have they stopped fighting? Or is it just the brief calm before the storm? This water, it's been stirred up, alright. But what happens next? You huddle closer to the old bone, feeling for the first time that the water in this tank is deeper than you ever imagined. And colder. My god, model, I think I went a little too far. You don't even dare to take a breath. The whole fish tank is unnervingly quiet, like the calm before the storm. System, just give me today's survival reward. It's already come to this. You can only take a gamble. Drawing today's survival reward. Congratulations, you have obtained Natural Fish Affinity, Beginner. The system's notification sound startles you for a moment. Natural Fish Affinity? What's the use of this thing? Suddenly, you feel a strange sensation. In the darkness, you seem to be able to perceive your surroundings more clearly, not just through sight in your lateral line. It's more like an emotional connection. You can feel Lao Gu's calmness and a faint sense of protectiveness directed clearly at you. This feeling is so strange. It's as if invisible threads are threading through the water, connecting you more tightly with this silent big brother. You subconsciously rub your head against Lao Gu's belly. An unprecedented sense of security washes over you. Just then, with a click, the top light turns back on. The glaring light makes all the fish pause for a moment. Jia is standing in front of the tank, his face ashen. The water is incredibly murky. The two hatchetfish are occupying separate corners, with visible injuries on their bodies. The vampire eel has retreated into the shadow of the driftwood. Its body is coiled up, only its red eyes still glimmer with a cold light. Jia looks at the disastrous state of the tank. So angry he's speechless. Brother Jia. My condolences. Time to clean up the battlefield, Brother Jia. I feel bad for my brother Dao. He must be scared stiff. See? Brother Dao has been hiding behind Lao Jiyu the whole time. So smart. Jia picks up the net and starts cleaning the debris from the water. He's in no mood to think about any German mirror carp right now. Meanwhile, you are secretly sensing the new power you've acquired. Natural Fish Affinity. Beginner level. If I'm not mistaken, this is an incredible skill. You can sense who is hostile towards you, and even weaken that hostility. Isn't this like a weaker version of spider sense? You quietly turn your gaze to the other residents of the tank. A good-sized golden dorado is hovering in the mid-level water. There's also an African dinosaur beashear resting on the bottom of the tank, like a living fossil. You try to activate that strange affinity, focusing your thoughts on the golden dorado. And send out a signal of, I mean no harm. The golden dorado was originally watching Jia's net warily. It seems to have noticed you looking and slowly turns its head. Normally, this kind of eye contact would likely lead to a conflict. But this time, it just stares at you for a few seconds. Doesn't assume an attack posture, and then slowly turns its head back. It's working. You rejoice inwardly. You then turn your gaze to the African dinosaur beashear, sending it the idea of peaceful coexistence. The dinosaur beashear's small eyes seem to blink once, and then it remains completely still. Alright, then, this guy is probably a natural airhead, but that's okay. This is definitely a huge step forward. You swim back to Old Bone's side again. Its massive body slightly adjusts its angle, bringing you into a safer area. At the same time, it subtly sweeps its huge tail fin through the nearby water, as if making a silent declaration. This little guy's with me. An invisible, fragile alliance takes shape. It seems to be quietly forming, with the Arapaima, Old Bones, at its core. And you, this clever scar-faced carp, as the link. You look at the hatchetfish in the corner, wary of each other. Then you glance at the vampire eel lurking in the shadows. You can't count on those two for now. Big brother alligator snapping turtle is still motionless, but that's okay. You flick your tail. For the first time in this treacherous fish tank, you feel a glimmer of power, a sense of control over the situation. As for that German mirror carp far away in the Czech Republic, you give a wary side-eye to the flustered Jia. Let's sort out this mess first, big brother. I'm rolling with you from now on. You rub against Old Bones again, your heart filled with an unprecedented sense of confidence. After figuring out the effect of affinity, your mind immediately becomes active. Wait a minute, if you can gain the favor of these fierce fish, doesn't that mean you can also win them over, forming strategic alliances in this small world of a fish tank? In this tank, the vampire eel is currently the biggest threat. It's cunning and sinister, it must be dealt with first. But just you and Old Bones alone will have a hard time dealing with that loach-like monster. You need allies. Your thoughts focus once again on the golden dorado. You try to transmit a clearer signal, cooperate. Against a common threat, you swim slowly, moving a few meters in the golden dorado's direction, turning your body sideways to show the side without the scar, indicating you have no hostile intent. At the same time, through your affinity, you repeatedly transmit the idea, vampire eel is dangerous, cooperate to eliminate it. Soon, you feel the golden Dorado's emotional fluctuations begin to change. From simple wariness, a hint of confusion and thought is added. It doesn't attack you immediately. This is a good start. The golden Dorado slowly moves its fins, its body slightly adjusting its direction, facing the driftwood where the vampire eel is hiding. This action itself shows that it has received your signal. Joy fills your heart. You press on. You gently flick your tail, pushing a few floating aquatic plant leaves toward the driftwood. This serves as both a guide and another way to provoke the vampire eel. The golden Dorado seems to understand your meaning. Its golden body cuts a graceful arc through the water, slowly circling around to approach the driftwood from another direction. As for the bichir and the catfishes, you shake your head. Better to forget it. Being able to win over this golden Dorado is already like dancing on the edge of a knife. You start swimming again, this time heading straight for the driftwood, keeping in sync with the golden Dorado. You feel its emotions become more focused. A predator's instinct has been triggered. At this moment, Jia is holding a fishing net, carefully cleaning up the debris while grumbling to the camera. Oh man, this is killing me. Why is it such a mess in here today? Jay, quit your whining. Quick, look at Boss Scar. Is he trying to start something again? Look at Boss Scar and the golden Dorado, are they forming an alliance? You've gotta be kidding me. How can fish team up? Wait a second, look at which way they're swimming. It looks like they're all heading straight for the vampire eel. The comments made Jia look up instinctively, and he froze right in the middle of cleaning. Right there, you, that scarred carp. You're moving in perfect sync with that fierce golden Dorado. One after the other, you're both heading straight for the driftwood with a clear purpose. Even weirder, Old Bone the Arapaima is right behind you guys too. That massive body is drifting slowly, almost like he's providing cover. Usually, these three either can't stand each other or just stay out of each other's way. Jia's jaw slowly dropped, and his net fell back into the tank with a loud splash. The splash startled the vampire eel inside the driftwood, and its slender body immediately tensed up. Its crimson eyes glared at you and the golden Dorado as you closed in. The moment the eel tried to react, you and the golden Dorado both sped up at the same time. You're taking the lead to draw its attention, swimming fast to lure the vampire eel out of the driftwood. Meanwhile, the golden Dorado is flanking from the side, its golden body shooting forward like an arrow. He's moving with incredible speed, cutting off the vampire eel's escape route. Oh my god, Jia cried out. The chat is absolutely blowing up. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. A real alliance? Holy crap, Boss Scar is a legend. Boss Scar is actually commanding these predators? Is this even possible for a fish? The vampire eel must be thinking, what did I even do to deserve this? Here we go again. Hey, Jay, look at him. Your boy Boss Scar has straight up gained consciousness. That time I thought I was raising a carp, but he turned out to be a master strategist. Go get him, Boss Scar. Forget getting hitched. I'm gonna wreck these punks first.
快看看，你的刀哥成精了。关于我以为养的是鲤鱼，结果是军师这件事，刀哥，老子不结婚，先干翻。